Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. How are y'all feeling after today? Another solid day in Ape Nation for AMC. Up 4.12%, $1.47. Not too bad. We did go a little bit higher throughout the day, but we had a little bit of market turbulence, which happens, especially when there's comments from the Fed being released today. But still very solid. How's everybody feeling? Stevie says he thinks we would hit 40 if the SPY didn't take a dump and scare everybody. Yeah, I think so too. LFG, bye, says Trey Spider. There you go. VIX, AMC finna go crazy. Could. We're getting back up to those higher levels where we could really see something interesting happen. Let's see. I'm going to tweet this out real quick. Let's see. All right. How's everybody doing tonight? We doing good? Let's see. All right. We got a lot of stuff to go over tonight. I'm going to shoot the link out to a bunch of people. We're going to see anybody's available to come on and hang out. What the heck? Hold up. That was weird. Hold up. Something weird's going on. Boom. All righty. How we doing, everybody? Totally not the FBI. There we go. I think everybody's feeling good. Oh, what's up, Fuzzy? Shout out the mods. You guys always working overtime. We are doing excellent. Push is feeling good. Ricky says today was a good day. There we go. All right. So let's just go over today really quickly. Let me hide this BS. One day. Big start to the day. We were pretty red in the pre-market. I think I saw us as low as almost down 3%. And then right as the market opened, just boom, boom candles all the way up to 38.77. Now, if we were able to stay over 38.77, that would have been awesome. Patches says, you think you're excited? Feel these nipples? That's interesting. So going back to this right here, 38.77, we're now over 37. When we pull up the option chain for AMC, we have sent this week, I think these 33s, the 34s, 35s, 6s, and 7s in the money. Now at 38, there's another about 1.2, 1.3 million about shares that could potentially get hedged. The next big level, 40. If we can break above 40 and stay there, that's an additional potential 3.5 million shares that they could potentially hedge. Now let's look at the total of the amount of shares that they're going to have to actually hedge by buying. That's what we mean when we say hedge those contracts. To the call side, it's just buying pressure. Let's see. All right, so Stonko Tracker has 104,000 call contracts expiring in the money right now, meaning that if all of those calls were to get hedged, that would be about 10.4 million contracts getting hedged. Which, good buying volume right there. Real good buying volume. That was a great basketball reference. I don't think I made it basketball reference. Ernie says, STV getting ready to call me daddy real soon after we hit 42. Ernie, if we hit 42, I saw your message. I mean, I'm going to have to go to your cousin to get haircuts anyway. So I need a new haircut spot, obviously. So let's pull up Ortex as well to see where we're at in terms of short interest, because we have seen it flicker around a little bit. Let me refresh this right here. Ooh, little drop in the short interest today. Utilization still at 91.77. The return shares for AMC, 6.83 million. Borrowed shares, 2.09 million. The borrowed change was a net return of shares of 4.74 million AMC shares. So here's the thing. I was speculating a little bit about this on TMI stream. Remember, there was one day where we had 14 million shares go out on loan. Now, Ortex uses those estimates to basically figure out what the potential short interest could be. They know essentially what the shares on loan are, but when we have all of these shares returned, it decreases their short interest estimate. Now, I would say that when we get the next exchange reported short interest, which should be in a little while, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time, about a week. I still think we're going to see the short percentage of the free float, according to the exchange, go up. Fuzzy, thank you so much for the super. Shout out to all you guys who send those in. It really means a lot. I have to be honest, I started grabbing those September 17th 145. They're so juicy, only $50. This is a steal if you can play it right, up another 40,000%. Fuzzy, you're going to have to tell me what got you to 40,000% gains. Was it the June 40s that you bought super early? Like, you got it. I really want to know at this point. Like, 40,000% is, think about it. If it's you spend $100, you then now have you essentially now have $41,000 for every $100 that you would have put in. That's how crazy 40,000% is. Totally not the FBI says, did you see the guy on Twitter who has 2,100 145 calls for January 2022? Totally not the FBI. I did not see that. If that individual does have that many contracts, that's ridiculous. That's a big position right there. Big position. But I want to know how Fuzzy got to 40,000% gains. That's awesome. Oh, Batchet says, my nipple comment was from the movie Basketball, the Matt Stone and Trey Parker movie. I have not seen that one. What's utilization at? 91.77. I was expecting to see the utilization continuously go up higher than it did. But again, utilization is just a reflection of how many shares that institutions are willing to lend out versus the amount of shares that they have already that have already gone out on loan. NSTC 005 got approved today, in effect tomorrow. It got that notice for accelerated approval, I'm thinking yesterday. I didn't see anything about it today, but again, it is coming into effect. There are a lot of different margin rules coming from the NSCC and the DTCC that are really going to put the pressure on a lot of these institutions. And again, if you don't see it right away, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. That's something that a lot of people need to keep in mind. Like, these proposed rule changes, one, they're not basically just for AMC. When they're making these proposed rule changes, they're looking at something happening. AMC is involved in that situation, but it's not the sole reason. Like, they're not making these rule changes just because one stock or two stocks or three stocks are freaking out. Hit that like, Abe, says Dark Bane. Thank you. One Fast Duster says, I had to roll my AMC covered calls up and out today. That's a great problem to have. I made a net of $420. There you go, Duster. Fuzzy, thank you so much for the super. June 40th options picked up early February, kept buying and averaging in the best price, then sold them for 2 to 4K a piece. Sold 20, bought for about 1K. Fuzzy, there you go. You crushed it on that one. Ernie, thank you so much for the super. 2,100 contracts. That's a real sugar daddy status. Oh yeah. Let's see, how much would 2,100 contracts cost at the current time for that expiration? 2,100 times. That would be, is that $400,000? No. Yeah. That's like $400,000, I think, that this individual, it's either 400,000 or 4 million, but that's big. When like button, I don't know. Classic car pal. Do you guys follow Astro? He has DD that shows that we are repeating the same cycle we went through from mid-May to early June. The chart today looks exactly like May 25th chart. Joseph, I know who Astro is. He puts out a lot of good info. He's a funny guy too, I believe. But I haven't seen that theory. I've heard a lot of people talking about the fact that we're in that sort of situation right now. And I would definitely like to take a look at that. And let me see if I can get him on one of the streams this week. That would be fun. And yesterday looked just like May 24th. Yeah. So the only issue that I see with that, seeing that I haven't looked at it, is that it's sometimes hard to look at previous events and apply them to what's happening right now. Like, it's never going to be the same. It'll be similar, but you may not actually be able to tell. If we were actually going to rip within the next couple of days, like really high, which with these options that we see, it would be a little bit different. So with those, that gamma squeeze that we saw in June, we ripped like 2 weeks before that expiration date. So a lot of people thought that it was just a FOMO rally or some sorts covering. And then the week of, I believe, June 18th, that expiration date, we were going to see that huge gamma squeeze, but they had already hedged the contracts. So it wasn't going to happen. Now, what we would head into is that 2 weeks from now, we would be 2 weeks away, which would be about around the same timing of another run up compared to what we had in June. So there's a lot of contracts for September that we can look at. That I've showed you guys this September expiration date a bunch of times. But when we look here, there's already 35,000 contracts for 40. There's 45,000 or no, 14,000 at 45. Sorry. And then when we pull up Stonko Tracker to see what's already in the money, what is it, the 17th? 75,000 contracts. It's not too far off what we are seeing for August. So if we continue on this uptrend for the next 2 weeks, that could be when we see the next leg up. But this does look like we are breaking the downtrend that we have seen. I believe on the 1 month, we had that golden cross. Let me see if I can pull that up. So that's, we'll pull that up later. We'll get TMI in here maybe to do some TA. SCV, why is the short interest going down on Ortex? I thought we wanted it high and it kept rising. Joan, it was going up for a while. And now we are kind of seeing a bunch of shares get returned. Remember, I don't know if I finished this thought, that the 14 million shares that went out on loan may not have actually been shorted. So they went out. Some of them may have been accounted into Ortex's estimate, because once they go out on loan, it's hard to tell if they're actually shorted or not. And then they could have just gotten returned and are messing with the short interest. That is a very possible way that happens. Yeah, he said today that June 2nd lines up with Thursday, Friday next week. Oh, perfect, Joseph. So we're on the same page. All algorithms. Oh, awesome. Yeah. I'll shoot him a message and see if we can get him on here. What is today? Tuesday. So I stream tomorrow night and the night after. So one of those 2 nights, let's see if we can get him to come on. CBR, my 70 strike calls for Friday are pretty much toast. Had them for more than a month, 18K down the pipe. Yeah, with options, you got to be very careful. For me, I typically never put in an amount that I am not willing to lose. There are some exceptions if you're going to be buying in the money leaps. There's slightly less risk, or like very near to the money contracts. But if you were buying deep out of the money contracts with not a lot of time to expiration, you got to be really careful. Does that mess up our squeeze when the shares borrowed are returned? Joan, good question. No, because there are still a bunch of shares out there that have been shorted. And what we're looking at on Ortex, remember, is just the baseline reported data from 85% of the reporting brokerages. So when we saw that Stonko Tracker had 0 shares left, that was Interactive Brokers, like we talked about last night, I think it was, that they were reporting no shares left. And we kind of saw it reflected across the board with the cost of borrow rates, that it went up pretty high. So it could have been that there were, it could have been a little bit harder to get shares yesterday for whatever reason. But we're still not seeing the utilization at high enough levels to really make it a hard to borrow stock. Let's see. It's a mental play. See how it got people to ask about it dropping? I mean, it could always drop. Web Twerp. I have not seen that movie either. You guys got to remember, I'm like young. They borrow them, then just return them to mess with the short interest numbers. Yeah, it's very possible. Let's see. We also saw this right here that I don't think a lot of people understood in the video today. I saw a lot of people freaking out as usual. You just got to listen sometimes. So when we're looking at Citadel right here, this is the reporting date of August 16th. They used to have around, I think, 700,000 or 800,000 AMC shares. They've now, this column right here is the percentage of shares changed. So negative 81% means that they sold 81% of their position. When we look at their options right here, I forgot my login information for Fintel. It's on my other computer. They increase their puts and they increase their calls, which we can see up here, but it's on lock because I don't know my password, which stinks. But they did increase both their put and call position. but they decrease the amount of shares. Does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? I mean, a lot of people are still labeling Citadel as the big bad guy, but again, it's really just their market making activities that could make them the big bad guy by taking the other side of the trade in that naked or synthetic short, but they're legally allowed to do that. What they're not legally allowed to do is like let that persist, if that makes sense. Like that's how we could see a lot of those FTDs pile up. And if it's the market makers doing it or the prime brokers doing it, they still have to close out those positions. So it's not the hedge funds that have to close out those FTDs. It's the prime brokers or the market makers. Ernie keeps calling out this 42. Listen, Ernie, if we can get up past 38 in that $39 range, I could easily see us getting that push to 40, more contracts getting hedged, more buying volume, and we shoot up to 42. And then I'm going to have to call you my father. But at the same time, I'm still going to go get a haircut from your cousin. And I'll probably do that next week. So Ernie, shoot me a message. There's a lot of Ernies that send me messages. I'm not sure. I don't remember if your name is the same, but shoot me a message on Twitter and we will set that up. I'm going to need a haircut. Citadel sold like 660K last quarter. Only have 135K-ish. Batshit, 100%, man. Good to see you in here. Rocket, dropping by to give a thumbs up for the algo. Rocket, Chet, thank you, man. Sometimes you say something in your videos, but don't say if it's a good thing for us. Thanks for all you do. Joan, what do I say? Havana's TA says 42 by close Friday too. I mean, remember, if a lot of people's TA is saying something, there's two sides of it. Again, like just like everything. If everybody's TA is saying that, then it might be a self-fulfilling prophecy and people will bid it up to there. Or the other institutions can see that the technicals are saying 42 by Friday and go against that and use it to kind of demoralize and push down the morale of retail. Let's see. Even if we see zero shorts, there's still nakeds. Mod couple, yeah. We're never, in my opinion, we can go over this ping pong theory again, that we're never going to see zero in terms of the short interest, or we could see a lower number for utilization. But I don't think we're ever going to see zero. Here's why. When GameStop went up, or when a lot of these stocks rip up, like if we saw a squeeze on AMC, let's just say, for example, the squeeze is between 1 and 100,000. Let's just say, so I don't deal with anybody going crazy, that is the range for the squeeze. So if that's the range, then when you're thinking about what happens when the stock goes up like crazy, then there's going to be more shorts coming in. So when the shorts come in a larger fashion, then they're going to just kind of ping pong it around. So the stock will go up crazy. There's going to be more shorts getting added in. Stocks are going to go down, but eventually those shorts are going to have to cover, and then the stock is going to go back up. So it honestly could be a situation where AMC starts to move like this giant sine wave. So it'll go up, it'll come down, it'll come up, it'll come down. And honestly, I think that's kind of great for the company, because if they end up getting more shares that they can issue for capital, then they're just going to be able to become better fundamentally, because they're going to be able to raise more money. Oh, what's up, Nipol? No, you said sometimes people panic, and I think it's because you mentioned something but don't finish your sentence to say it's a good thing in general. Joan, okay. TMI's avocado, there we go. I would not put money on a date for breaking support. I was positive we would break 60 in June. I lost a lot of money as a result. TMI's avocado, we technically, I think we did, didn't we? Oh, what's up, Anthony? Are we getting to 40 by Friday? It's very possible. We're not that far away. We just need, honestly, we would need 2 more big green days, but who knows? We could see the shorts really come out hard tomorrow, because remember, we have that 14 million shares looming. but we did see a lot of those shares get returned today. It wouldn't make a lot of sense that those shares got returned, because if they're looking for a good entry, they would want the stock to go up. So now would be the time that they would use a lot of those shares. So it's this weird dynamic of, you're never going to know what the other side is doing unless you're sitting directly across from them and you know that they're being honest with what they're doing. So we should hold tomorrow. You can do whatever you want. Nipol, I don't think I did. I'm sorry, man. I got to take a look at it. Let's see. Darth. That's not who it was. I got my computer charger stolen. It was my computer charger and somebody needed to use it. So that's what happened. Pizza rolls delivered? No. Oh, also, isn't it Bring Your Pet to Stream Day? Is that what's going on today? I know TMI had his cat. I think Matt brought his dog. It would only make logical sense for me to bring out my dog now. ISV, how many shares did they return today? They returned 6.83 million shares. STV is the choice for me. Thanks for another stream. The collective risk. Thank you. Oh, your name is Nepal. Gotcha. That's my bad. Fuzzy says, still kind of think there's a red day coming up before the rip. Even with all these green days, I really do think there's another test coming. Fuzzy, I think that's entirely possible. Also, if you guys don't mind, just dropping a like on the video helps us out with the algorithm, and just helps get some more people in here to ask questions and figure out what's going on. So if you guys don't mind, just dropping a like. Thank you. Nah, it was totally Darth. It wasn't. Meatloaf. I have seen that movie. 6 million returned today, 2 million borrowed. Yes, sir. It's like a 4 point something million net return. They know we are using Ortex, so yeah, just saying that they may use Ortex to show shorts covered when we know there's more shorts. Mod couple, 100%. We know they manipulated Ortex before, because the DTCC chairman, after the GameStop run up, basically said, yeah, there wasn't really any margin calls or covering of shorts. So if that didn't happen, then why did the short interest and utilization drop so much? It's like, well, that's suggesting that it did, but maybe they didn't. There are some weird option strategies that they can use to like spoof their short interest and make it seem like it's lower than it actually is. Can you explain why I am negative in my options if I am still in the money? It depends on when you bought them. It really all depends on when you bought them. Like if you bought them and the stock went down, you're still going to lose money on your contract. If you're buying calls and you want the stock to go up and the stock ends up going down, yeah, your contract's going to lose value. Phil, thank you so much for the super. I really appreciate that, man. For your troubles, thank you. Isn't Ortex T+2? I don't believe it is. There were like a lot of debates about that going on. It could be. But the return shares should be showing up. If it's covering of shares and then returning, those trades would have had to settle and have been executed 2 days ago, but they're actually getting returned today. I think that's kind of where the mix-up is, but I'd have to take a deeper look into that. Let's run 9 days straight. Why not? There we go. Let's see. So wonder when they will borrow those to put new shorts on this, or are they afraid to? They honestly could be afraid to short this right now. I would be. Why would you want to short AMC right now? Like, it's so backwards. There's retail who has been so outspoken about AMC. Let me just shoot this link out to a bunch of people too. Like retail has been so outspoken with like, yeah, like the short squeeze, AMC is going to go. Okay, cool. Retail is very bullish. Here's the other thing though. Institutions are even more bullish than retail. They're crazy. Like they're bought in. I think let's pull up the number. It's like over 3 billion now. It's crazy. Let's see. Outflow is way lower. Institutional ownership. No, thank you. Here we go. All right. This is not correct. What? Hold up. Market beat is glitching. All right, something's wrong with market beat right now where it's saying only 1.1 billion have been maybe this is no, this is right. So it's saying only 1.1 billion have been bought now and 392 million have been sold. That's got to be a glitch because earlier today I saw it at 3 billion. So we're going to have to take a look at that again. I don't want to pull it up and scare people, but it's probably just a glitch that we're seeing on market beat. Algos are bullish. They really are. Imagine thinking 300 is the squeeze. Lol. I mean, yeah, the bots. The funniest thing was that when like TMI would be on his stream and the bots would be saying like 100. And then when I started streaming, I started to see it a little bit too. But then his bots started saying 300, and then they came over to mine. I was like, oh, you just upped your squeeze target to by 200%. Good job. Too bad that your silly FUD squeeze target doesn't matter to any of us. We all have our own individual plans on when we want to get out. And it just furthers that supply and demand issue where if we hold the supply and there's forced demand in covering these positions, the price is just going to get bid up like crazy. Let's see. Mr. Fishing, I feel as though you'll lose a lot of paper hands on the first dip over 100. Mr. Fishing, it's very possible. But here's the thing about paper hands. There's going to be more retail and honestly institutions buying those dips. We saw institutions buy all the way up to the $70 range and back down here. So they're obviously thinking it's going to go a lot higher. Now, one, we could consolidate the shareholders in retail. Like when you think about it, it's like putting your best foot forward in terms of who would you really want to be holding during the squeeze? Do you want people that are going to paper hand early, or do you want people that are going to help with that supply and demand thing? Now, you can do whatever you want with your money. It's just a strategic thing about how this could possibly play out. The way it gets really high is theoretically is if everybody held to those really high levels and nobody sold. But that's not going to happen. It's just everybody has their own situation that they need to take care of. And they need to be able to basically satisfy those needs. So everybody's people's needs are different. Ape Anto says, I was watching Jeff Forbes' video talking about the 13F market beat. It was showing 3.3 billion in buys. I know I saw that today too, but I'm refreshing it right now and it's saying 1.1 billion. So probably a little market beat glitch. We're gonna have to wait and see on that tomorrow, but that's what I'm seeing here. I'm not gonna pull it up on screen. That's just what I'm seeing. Why are people saying the MOAS is around the corner? Some saying this month it'll happen for multiple people. Are we really that close? John Smith, nobody knows. So if anybody's telling you that the MOAS is about to happen, they have no idea what's about to happen. Nobody does. I mean, somebody could get it right and just say the MOAS is going to happen this month for the next however many months until the MOAS, and one of those months they're going to be right. It won't. There's a strong. Oh my God, my dog just starts freaking out every single time I'm streaming. Let's see. I place what I can afford. It's not much, but it could hit 1 cent and you wouldn't sell. Mac and Beats. There you go. Algos will buy the dip. We have the most successful hedge funds bullish on AMC, millions of apes, dozens of institutions. We are in great shape. Eddie, I 100% agree with you. You would not see if AMC was actually a dead play, you wouldn't see all of these CNBC fudders coming out and saying that it's a bad play. One, they don't help anybody besides themselves. And two, you wouldn't see BlackRock, biggest institution in terms of assets under management. Vanguard, pretty sure they're number 2, if not very, very, very close second or third. And then 3, you have Renaissance, who is arguably or one of the best, or if not the best performing hedge fund of all time, buying in. It's like, okay, so you're calling us dumb. I'm going to keep saying this. You're going to call us dumb money for investing. But if you're going to call us dumb money for investing, you also have to call those people stupid too. And they're never going to do that because they know they're not stupid. Just because, honestly, it's kind of just because they're BlackRock or Vanguard or Renaissance, they're not going to call them stupid. But if it's just a bunch of retail investors that are like, oh, I like this stock, I think it can squeeze, then they're stupid to them. It's like, you guys are so backwards in what you're doing. And it makes more sense for them as a business to put out accurate information on AMC because we'll click on it. This is something that TMI has been saying. It's like, we will go look at your articles. And a lot of people will also go look at those FUD articles, which is bad. And it's good to look at both sides, but you know where their motivation is. BlackRock is a front for Vanguard. I disagree. Motley Fool suddenly wants to change their tune on AMC. Motley Fool has put out bullish and bearish articles over the last couple of months, but they've been net bearish on their articles on AMC. So most regular banks are FDIC insured for 250. Where do I keep my millions? You're gonna have to talk to a financial advisor about that one. Motley Fool now says 2,000 per share. Good for them. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I drove past a dead wreck. Oh my. I'm late. Did I miss it? Did I miss the squeeze? What's up, my people? Shout out Mod Squad. Rhode Island. What is going on? Let's see. Motley Fool wants to be able to say they called this play to lure in fools. Honestly, they might. So we do have this little gamma squeeze potential. It's not crazy. It's like it's I would say like medium to low end in terms of gamma squeeze for this week. September's bigger. As we go on the months, it goes September. We don't even really have that many strikes for October yet, which is very weird. They came back. It only goes out to 80 though. But again, 40, there's nothing. I would expect this September. We'll see the volume pick up. We'll see the open interest go up. So then October could then be another solid for a potential gamma. But after September, right now, what it's setting up as is January gamma squeeze, remember. Now, when we're looking at this, it's the 145 right here as 72,000 contracts for open interest. That's a lot. Motley Fool is like those bots that said 50 and then 300. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's the one thing with a lot of those stock, like they give stock picks. Here's what they can do. I think a couple of these institutions have actually gotten in trouble with this. So I'm not saying Motley Fool has done this. I just have heard of people like Motley Fool doing this in the past. What they do is they create their email list and then they'll send out a stock pick. They'll tell half of them that the stock is going to go up, half of them that the stock is going to go down. This is one of the scams that people use. I'm not saying Motley Fool does this. This is just something that they can do. Now, half of the people on their email list are going to win on that trade. Then they'll give them another stock and they'll do the same thing. So they'll do it a couple of times. And then those people that have won every single trade are going to be like, oh my God, this service is the best. They're going to tell everybody. And then they'll just boost their list up and they'll keep going. And a lot of people, I'm pretty sure a couple of like stock pickers like that websites have gotten in trouble for doing that. So that is something that they can do. I don't know if Motley Fool has done it, but who knows? Let's see. Look into who owns BlackRock. I think it's reaching. Hey VIX, thank you for your work. I've heard people say GameStop and AMC are the same stock. Can you please explain that a bit? How? So people say same stock, different ticker, just because of the way that they move. So when we pull up GameStop on the one day, this is what people are referring. Ooh, that's AMC. This is what they're referring to. Stock comes up, stock comes down, stock bounces. Stock goes up, stock goes down, stock bounces. Basically what that is the algorithms. Like the whole market is run by algorithms right now. Like they'll switch to buy, they'll switch to sell or short, and it'll just ping pong stocks around. And that's kind of what we see. Like typically we'll see the S&P 500 lead and then the other stocks will follow it. That doesn't mean that they're manipulating everything. It just means the algorithms are catching everything and moving it all together. But they're different. Now, a lot of people say you can't compare AMC and GameStop to previous squeezes. I would agree because of the magnitude, but I do like to look for some comparisons. And I look at those as kind of like squeeze catalysts. Like what could potentially set it off? For AMC, I believe it's like that disclosure of ownership part where if it comes out eventually that institutions, retail own a significant enough portion where the short interest doesn't match up with how many shares are owned, then that could be a squeeze catalyst similar to Volkswagen. For GameStop, I haven't really heard a lot of people say that the retail investors or institutions own everything. So then it becomes they've overshorted it for sure. But you also have that crypto dividend aspect to it. Oh, totally not the FBI. Go for it. Which week in September looks like gamma? It's always the monthly options It's the monthly expiration date for options. It just leads for it just allows for more open interest and more volume. So we're already seeing these pileups on 40, 45, little bit on 50, 60, little on 55, not really. But then when we come out, there's 60,000 at 145. Now, when we think about the next leg up is going to be a lot more costly to institutions than this first one was. Like, yeah, we saw the FTDs go crazy on this first one, but it's going to cost them so much more money to buy all of those shares at that 145 or $100 strike and covering those shorts at those higher prices. So I kind of think that it's very possible that we are one next big rip up like we saw in June from shorts actually covering. But could be wrong. It could be two. It could just happen on one random day where the shorts decide, all right, this isn't worth it anymore. Nobody really knows. Volatility halts are like 5 minutes. Yeah, they can also be 15 minutes too. Do you think we will be affected? Do you think we will be attacked to drive the price down by Friday close? It's very possible. When the squeeze happens, should we have reserve to continue buying in and driving the squeeze? Lewis, you can do whatever you want, but a lot of people, I think, get it a little bit confused on like, well, if we get to these high prices, who's going to be buying? It's like, well, it's the shorts because they have to buy. Like, no retail investor is going to have enough money to buy a bunch of shares at like, unless you're a whale, like 1,000, 5,000, you're just not going to have that much money lying around. But it's going to be the shorts who are going to have to cover. So you can buy if you want to. If you don't want to, then you can do whatever you want. How realistic do you think 25 to 75K is? I think the squeeze is going to go as high as it wants to. We have no idea how high we would. In order to figure that out, we would need to know like how much retail owns and how much they're not willing to sell and how many shares are actually out there. Both of those things that we don't know. You speak reason, STV? I try. You know what comes out in September? New most up Oreos. I mean, I have some of those here. Oh, totally not the FBI, the Oreo theory. I've heard that a couple of times that those Oreos are like gonna hurt the market. It's kind of crazy. We'll see though. That's a big tinfoil theory. Fuzzy says he'll buy at 1K. Fuzzy, you're going to be able to buy at 1K after that 40,000% gain that you had. Day traders are having fun with AMC. It consistently reaches the day high in late morning. Gary, yeah, I mean, there's definitely day traders, but what you have to think about with day traders is the same thing with options. They add fuel to the fire. So if the stock is going up, they can help run it up. Stock is going down, they're going to help push it down too. It's the same thing with options. If the stock is running up, that buying volume from institutions is going to help. If the stock is going down, the short volume from those options are going to hurt. Let's see. The big rip is going to catch everyone by surprise. We won't see it coming really. Just going to be at 40. Yeah, a CT. I think that's very possible. Never seen a 15-minute volatility halt. Maybe those are the news ones. Sometimes they're pending news. Let's see. Not everybody has 1,000+ shares either. John Smith, very true. Let's see. More likes pretend the button is Kenny G's forehead. That's funny. Some people are going to miss the boat. Yeah, that's true. Some people are not going to be AMC shareholders and they're going to miss it. But at the same time, not everybody is going to be able to capitalize on the opportunities that they have. There's 4.1 million shareholders right now that are going to be able to capitalize on it. That's what we have right now. It's probably more than that, but we'll see. AMC is the only stock that I have that was in the green today. Markets got crushed and probably going to keep up that way for a while. Here's the thing. I think that the Fed and the overall market is going to continue up going into Q4. We're going to see some pullbacks, but I do think that the market is going to continue under the uptrend until Q4. That is when everything starts to happen. We also have that increase in margin calls on September 1st. We also have these increased margin requirements. So we're going to see some things start to really play out. We don't know what it is yet. You see any link between Wall Street corruption and politician? Chances. I don't think what's going on over there is going to be the cause of the market crash. Oh, Eric Harper, what's going on, man? Will we ever know how many actual shares there are? Most likely not, unless there's a really, really substantial legal proceeding, which there could be, and then it gets disclosed in like a Freedom of Information Act filing. Right now, no way to tell. Here the only way to tell is if we had like every single investor, including institutions, vote on that say vote, and that's the only way to verify your shares. Other than that, there's no real way to figure it out. Let's see. SUV, our dealership is down to 2 new Subarus on the lot and no available new ones coming through to September. Guess I'm going back to selling my body on the street again. Rhode Island. That was funny. The ability to manipulate the stock has dwindled down and now the price action's showing it. Let's go. Yeah. I mean, we could be. We're not really at those levels for the utilization to really show that it's very hard to manipulate. There's still about 8% of all of the shares that institutions are willing to lend able to go out on loan. And that number changes. So when the utilization starts to go up or down by a lot, then you're seeing a lot of shares go out on loan. But if it's these small changes, it could be due to just the amount of shares that institutions are willing to lend just changing. Is the short squeeze over after all shorts have covered? How many shorts? Hugo, like I said earlier, I don't personally think that the short interest in AMC is ever going to be zero. Because when we see the stock run up so much, it's only logical for more shorts to come in to take that trade on the way down. Now, when we see those shorts short at those high levels and the stock comes down, then they're going to cover it, which could push the stock price back up. And that's why I was talking about that like ping pong theory where the stock could go up, it could come down, it could go sideways, but it could do this like big looping move that we've seen with a couple of other stocks that have been like very heavily shorted and squeezed, like Overstock. If we pull up Overstock's chart, like over 5 years, look what it does. It goes up, goes down, comes up, comes down, comes up. Really recently, down, up, down, up. Like it could just do this. Like it could run up, the shorts come back in, they cover, it comes back up, comes back down. Like that's what I see for AMC going forward once this ends up playing out. Fuzzy, thank you so much for the super. PSA, remember, young apes, money isn't everything. Be humble, be kind. Don't forget where you came from. And for God's sake, be a good person. Love you all. Fuzzy, I love you too, man. Thank you. How many shares do you think are out there? Nobody knows. The statistical analysis showed that there was about 1 to 5 billion with a 99% confidence interval, which means that there's a 1% chance that the actual amount of shares lies outside of that interval. But there was a selection bias. It was not a random sample. So you can't necessarily know for sure how many, if that's like analysis was accurate. The fact that we had over 1% of the population voting makes it more statistically valid. But again, we're never going to know the true number. So I can't give you a number that I think it is. Do I think it's between that range? Most likely it is. Let's see. What are your thoughts on VRPX? I have not seen that, Nepal. VIX, I was scrolling through the options chain as you said about the 145 calls. I don't see it for September 17th on Webull level 2. I mean, I don't think you would. There's no level. I mean, I'm on Webull right now. September 17th, 145 right here. 59,000 contracts, almost 60,000. So they're there. I'm not really sure what you're looking at there. I'm just pulling up the option chain. Let's see. This continues to drag on because the cost to borrow is ridiculously low for such high utilization. Either way, patience, my apes. Clifton, agreed. We will see that cost to borrow eventually increase as more shorts come in. The utilization goes up. It becomes harder to borrow, and there's that scarcity aspect occurring. Let's see. I only have low XXX shares. I thank you, big holders, in advance for holding. There you go. Matt's Totally Real Oil. I don't really know where that came from, but that's an interesting name. They've been at it since December 2019. Yeah, I bet they have. Yep. That shit says, VIX, do you think they'll still allow shorting during the squeeze, or will the brokers cut it off from risk and volatility? That's a really good question. What we saw happen in June, I don't remember the specific timing of it. If it was before or after the run up, it would make sense if it was after we were really ripping. That I believe Goldman, Bank of America, Jeffries, and a couple of other prime brokerage operations. The Bank of Montreal did this too. They cut off the ability to enter new short positions on AMC. Now, what I was thinking was, well, what are they going to do with the existing short positions? Well, what we saw was the utilization drastically decrease. That could have been those institutions turning off the ability to short and doing something of a forced share recall, because it's just too risky to have all of those open short positions taking huge losses out there. So that could have been one of the things that happened back in June. But yeah, some of them have already turned off the ability to short, but we never got the notification, and I don't think we will, that they've turned back on the ability to enter new short positions. It might come out again that, oh yeah, they turned off the ability to short. It's like, well, you've already done that. So then that would suggest that they've turned it off, turned it back on, and then turned it off again. Theoretically, if there are synthetics, could the amount be manipulated like everything else, basically? Yeah. I mean, that's why we don't see it reflected all the time in the short interest. If we knew that there were billions of shares out there, well, it would reflect in the short interest, but it doesn't. So there's ways for them, especially with options, to make it look like they've covered or meet the closeout requirements at their different brokerages, but they're actually not, and they're just kicking the can down the road. Let's see. You're my favorite YouTuber, VIX. I like you. Dinner on me in Vegas. Stonk Guru. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Brett says holding to the moon. Make sure to have an exit strategy. Yeah, definitely. Everybody have an exit strategy. It's going to be different for everybody. But once we get going, you're going to need to have a strategy on, one, how much money you think you need to either pay off all of your debt, start a new business, live off of for the rest of your life. And then you got to figure out what that number is that the stock needs to get to and stick to your plan. I don't want to see anybody like hold through the entire thing and not get out. That's going to hurt. I want to make sure everybody has their own specific plan in place in order for them to make sure that they play this as smart for them personally as possible. And you really need to think about that for yourself. Like, how many shares do you necessarily need at what price in order to be good? So what's the story of Ken Griffin trying to flee to the Cayman Islands? I don't think that's true. How are naked shorts even accounted for if nobody knows where they're at and how many? Smooth brain syndrome. My apologies. All good, James. One, naked shorting is illegal. So it's illegal. You can't do it. Market makers can do a version of naked shorting as part of their hedging process. But again, a lot of people have been saying they don't follow the rules and they'll just continue to short shares, even though they don't have any realistic way to get their hands on a real share. So it's like an IOU. It's like, yeah, here are the shares to short, but they don't actually have them. Don't forget taxes, 100%. Noab, yeah, I mean, we could take a look at it. Here's the thing. When we're taking a look at other short squeeze stocks right now, they don't have the community or institutional backing that these other stocks do. So it's like we're just kind of looking at something else that is probably not going to squeeze as high as the big two. So it's like, why bother? That's kind of my thoughts on it. Like, there are other stocks out there that you can make money on, but like, why focus on a different? You can do whatever you want. This is just me. I'm only really focusing on AMC and GameStop for the squeeze play. Like, yeah, I'm taking other trades to try to make some money to put more money into AMC. But for the squeeze plays, it's more just I'm focusing on these two because they have the short squeeze thesis locked and loaded. They have retail continuously buying. And what we've seen over the past 2 weeks with these 13Fs coming out, they have institutions buying in crazy amounts. Let me go back to MarketBeat and see if they changed their number. Yeah, it still says 1.11 billion, which is weird. The name came from Matt's dad telling him to check his oil before he went home for the weekend. Oh, interesting. Let's see. We may not be able to see synthetics, but that doesn't mean the powers that be can't. They will run them down because they know who's made them. CT, they might be able to figure it out, but again, all of those shares are on someone's balance sheet. So it's like maybe some of them are over here at one company, they're over here at another one, but you'd have to put all of them together to see the big picture. Like unless one institution, which is highly unlikely, is holding all of these shorts, then you'd be able to see it really easily. But I highly doubt that's the case. That's why when people label Citadel as the big bad guy, it's like, well, one, we have no idea who's actually shorting because they don't have to report it. So I think that it's going to be these smaller institutions that are going to get wiped out because they're not going to have the money to maintain these liquidity requirements. And then the larger institutions are most likely just going to take really significant losses. How high will GameStop hit? That's like I don't know why. It's just nobody knows. I'm seeing a lot of AMC videos pop up on my YouTube feed from creators I've never heard of before. Another bullish sign. Yeah, I mean, people just kind of want to hop on the wave. If they're providing good information and they're kind of getting after it and putting out good stuff, good for them. I'm new to trading. I bought 1,000 AMC shares at 30. I sold out when it dropped heavy to 28, but I didn't buy back in when it was 28 because I thought it would go longer. What should I do? Matthew, what I would recommend to those new people who don't necessarily understand everything that's going on is watch a bunch of videos, read the basic DD threads on Reddit, look at what's going on Twitter, and educate yourself on the situation. Because once you fully understand the implications of what's going on, then you'll have a better understanding of what to do with your position. Let's see. I think there would be a fake squeeze. I would probably, yeah. Cindy, I don't know. It's very possible that there's like a big rip up and then a massive sell off to try to shake out the weak hands before there's that big squeeze. And what you got to think about is that on the way up, there's going to be new shorts adding. So it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse in terms of the short interest. It might come down, but then their algos switch to buy and then it rips. That's kind of what happened with the Volkswagen situation, even though you can't fully compare it. That is kind of the price action that they saw. I went from 200 to 400, back down to 200, and then ripped to like 1,200. Ooh, stock Twitch is down. I heard Reddit was down at one point today. People were saying that when I was on TMI stream, and I never saw it. It never went down for me. Let's see. We just ran 4 days green, and Attila not overbought territory. We have a lot of room to grow. Eddie, yeah, I still think we could rip throughout the end of this week. Kathy, what do you give up on? Let's see. So you're saying there's a chance? Yeah, there's always a chance. Is there any real-time data we can watch during the squeeze to help us make decisions on when to sell? Peter, no, that's why I'm saying you got to have your own decision. Like let's say you sell at like some really high level and you make a bunch of money, but then the stock runs up 100 more %. Yeah, you're going to be upset, but at the same time, you took your gain and you know that you have the money. And you followed your strategy and you made a bunch of money. So I think that's going to be a lot of people after. We could see a lot of people upset that they didn't sell at the top. Honestly, less than like a tenth of a basis point. Like it's just going to be like 0.0001% of people are going to top ticket. Like honestly, it might be 10 out of all of the 4.1 million, maybe less. It's like winning the lottery twice. It's going to be very hard for people to top ticket. You're just not going to. So you got to have a plan going in, stick to it. Are you going to be live streaming during the MOAS? Jose, I'll be live streaming at night. So I'll do the videos during the day and then the night streams again. Cause I move back into my apartment I move into my new apartment at school in 4 days. And then I have a week and then I'm back in school, which sucks. Let's see. 37% federal taxes if short term. Buck, I think they're trying to raise the federal to like 35 or it's not the federal, sorry. The long term to 35 or 37 too, if that gets passed. Does Kathy Wood also have short positions on AMC? I don't think so. Love your content. Been following since Palantir. There you go. That's a day one right there. Al Capone's not sleeping. I don't think a lot of people are. You just never know how high or what will be the highest price. Yeah, Kyle, if we all had a really good understanding, I agree. If we all had a really good understanding of what the peak would be, I would literally just buy with my entire net worth weekly options that week that expire with the deepest out of the money strike. So like we're never going to be able to know that. People would just be able to come in and go crazy if they knew how high it was going to go and when it was going to go. It's just not something you can figure out. Have people not paying attention to the filings? The Fed will hold their long positions and lend cash to cover. All positions will be closed. Yeah, that's the SFT thing. Not 47%. It's like 30. I think long term would go up, but the short term will still stay at your ordinary income rate. But I haven't looked at it too hard, so I'd have to dig deeper into that. Gary, this is popping in here. There we go. Bam's calling for a new all-time high in August. Let's see if he's right. It would be really cool if he was right. If we could hit that new all-time high, I'd be thrilled. We would all be making a bunch of money, and every single ape would be green. The morale would be awesome. Nobody would be upset. We'd have a lot less arguing. It would be awesome if we got back to those levels. You guys remember what it felt like in June? It was awesome. Everybody was happy. We were all having a good time. Everybody was excited. And then when we came down, all the FUD, the drama, everything started. Don't stress taxes. Hold money to pay them. But first, you have to make bank to owe the taxes. It's the price of admission. Yeah, it's also a really good problem to have. It's like if you have to pay a bunch of money in taxes, it also means you made a bunch of money. You recommend a limit sell or a stop loss during the squeeze. So I can't recommend everything, but here's essentially what the differences are. A stop loss is just basically if the price comes down to a certain level, sell my position. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but that's essentially what it is. A limit order is, hey, sell my order at this price or above. A stop loss can get hunted. You could get a fill for lower than that, or it could skip your stop loss and keep going. So that's the risk with stop losses, but also it allows you to be a little bit more hands off, especially with a trailing stop. But then when we see these volatility halts, you could get stop loss hunted. You could get closed out of your entire position really quickly, even though you may not have actually wanted to. So those are the risks. I would do a little bit more research into it if you're worried about that. But yeah, there's pros and cons to both of them. Anthony says he wish he had tax problems. Yeah. How many days could it take to hit the peak, or it all happens right away? Jorge, it's going to be really hard for it to happen in one day. I think it's going to be days or weeks. But again, nobody knows. Everybody's saying that it could happen in the after hours or pre-market and we miss it. Not going to happen because there's not going to be enough volume. There's not going to be enough volume or buying volume or selling volume in those periods in order to take out all of those shares. Let's see. It will be a party once we are over 50 and the weekend at 100. There will be more. Oh, yeah. Everybody's going to be so excited. Shout out to Mods, says Brett. Yeah, shout out to Mods. You guys are awesome. With the secret ingredient being what it is, what stops them from buying an option? They later make it hit the jackpot. I don't really know what you're talking about there. Let's see. If it's at $1 million or more, it'll be almost 50% capital gains tax rate. Figure on losing half of whatever you have if it's $1 million or more. John Smith, yeah, that's going to be tough. Can mods ban on YouTube? No, I'm the only one that can ban. Is there somebody saying some wild stuff in here that needs to get taken out? Thanks to everybody that's hopping in here tonight. If you guys don't mind, just dropping a like on the video. It just helps us out with the algorithm and getting this information out to more people. So thank you guys who have already done it, and thank you to you who are going to do it. I feel like I've increased my position. Let's see. I don't use aftermarket or pre-market. Yeah. So when you live stream during the MOAS, can you give us some good exit tips, right? No, Robert, I can't do any of that. Brandon watched 40K disappear and I'm still here. Conviction is strong. Won't sell to the MOAS. Brandon, there you go. That's honestly what the institutions look like they're doing too, which is the best thing that I've seen. It's like, oh, you're going to call retail dumb money, but the institutions were still buying all the way up and down and have diamond handing the entire way and have had a net increase in their position size over the last quarter. It's insane. I'm still flipping back and forth between this and Market Beat because Market Beat is still messing around with the amount of buys and sells. On the road to 100K subscribers. Yeah, we're getting there. Let's see. You can pay yourself as a corporation for lower tax. Only if you have a business. Don't mess around. Honestly, like speak to a tax professional. I don't want anybody getting like popped for tax fraud. That would be bad. Definitely talk to an accountant. 100%. So many caps. Yeah. Yeah. This market beat thing. Have you guys seen this too? Does anybody know? Has anybody seen anything on market beat? Why the institutional buys or sells went from 3 billion all the way down to 1 billion? Does anybody know why that is? I think it's a glitch because they're just getting their information from a lot of those 13F filings. So I don't know why it would have decreased so much. Had to have purchase stock on or before the corporation was formed. On or after. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pure luck if you cash in at the peak, 100%. Let's see if we got a little Ortex change here. Sometimes it flickers back and forth. Still, we have returned shares, 6.83 million, borrowed shares, 2 million, borrowed change, a net return of shares of 4.74 million, short interest now 17.93%, utilization at about 91.77%, still very high in terms of utilization and short interest, but we still have a long ways to go. For the short interest, when we ripped, let's see, right here, June 2nd, it was 17.48. But when we look at the, let's see, on loan right here, the shares on loan was 138 million. Right now, we're at 109 million. So there's a lot more shares left to go out on loan before we get back to those levels similar to what we saw in June. But a lot of people's technicals and the algos are saying that we rip. We could easily, but we're just going to kind of have to wait and see. Thank you, Larry. Once the squeeze happens, there is no way for the price to be controlled, correct? They're still gonna try to add on to their shorts at the higher levels. There's gonna be new shorts. Have you ever confused your pee jug and your water jug? Because I sure haven't. I have not. SCB, can the shorts prevent a squeeze by buying back their shares in smaller amounts over a longer period of time, or do they have to cover them all at a noticeable rate? That's a good question. If they were to try to cover their shares over a long period of time, one, we would see it would get reflected in the price due to slow buying volume over time because of all of the shares that they need to cover. So we would slowly creep up over months. But again, when the price starts to go up, they're going to say, well, AMC just started this slow melt up and now it's fundamentally overvalued and more shorts are going to come in. So the short interest would stay relatively the same, in my opinion, because we would see some shorts covering and then more shorts adding to their position. Dude, you do such a great show. Gonna start watching you more. I'll catch the rerun. Gotta see what the Patriots are up to on the. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Lewis. Who is Marge and why is she calling? She wants your money. Let's see. H&R. Let's see. Does Webull have a limit on how much you can withdraw? I mean, they might, but you just have to look at it. Don't confuse gamma squeeze for MOAS apes. Yeah, we were a lot. Yeah, we would have to deal with that a lot in June. Like we would be talking about the gamma squeeze all the time, and people would be like, "No, the squeeze didn't happen." It's like, yeah, I know this is something different. The difference between a gamma squeeze and a short squeeze is a short squeeze and a gamma squeeze both result in the same thing, more buying volume, but the cause for it is different. The shorts is covering their open short positions, meaning that they sold shares and they have to buy them back. For a gamma squeeze, it's sold options that they need to become directionally neutral on in order for them not to be blown out and have to buy a boatload of shares at market value and have to sell them at a lower price. Webull has a $3 million sell limit. I think that's the industry standard, 3 million. Oh, Phil, thank you so much for the super. Thank you to all of you guys who send those in. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to continue doing what we do. So thank you guys so much. Phil says for another gallon of water. Phil, thank you. I do need another one. There's nothing really left in here. Now I just kind of have coffee and it's just hanging out. Is E-Trade reliable? I mean, all brokers are really reliable. I think Trey said it was T+2, but I don't believe it as it updates throughout the day. Yeah, I mean, the return shares would happen today. It's just when that trade was executed. If it was a covered short position, I believe it would be 2 days before. So we don't really know. Believe, excel, achieve. Thank you so much for the super. In your opinion, do you honestly feel like this can hit 1,000 per share? Hoping so, but given that we own more than 80% of the stock, it makes me wonder. So the whole us owning 80% of the stock making you wonder is actually bullish in all senses, because if we own the supply and there's a forced demand coming in because of maybe a liquidation or a margin call coming, then they have to buy our shares. If we're not willing to sell them, then they are going to keep increasing the price in order to entice us to sell. Do I think it could hit $1,000 per share? It could easily. We just don't know how high this could potentially go. Nobody knows. But thank you so much for the super. Never had an issue with E-Trade. E-Trade's got a really interesting feature on E-Trade Pro where it shows you stocks making new highs and new lows. Really good for trading and getting news really quick. What's the difference between shorts covering and getting margin called? Very, very good question. Shorts covering and margin called is two very different things. So for a margin call, you can satisfy that call through a variety of different ways. You can put more collateral up that qualifies, or you can close out of your position. So there's two ways. So you can sell off securities to add more cash as collateral or any other qualifying collateral, or you can just deposit more collateral into your account to maintain that maintenance margin. So we are thinking about trading on margin. There's initial margin, which is what you have to put initially into the account in order to be able to gain that leverage. The second aspect is maintenance margin. Now that's lower. So let's say the initial margin is 30% and the maintenance margin is 20. So you're going to put in that 30% initial margin, but then if you fall below the maintenance, which is 20% most likely of the, like for in this example for the position, you're going to have to deposit enough collateral to get you above that maintenance margin. Most of the time, I believe it goes back to the initial margin, but you satisfy the margin call. With shorts covering, it's very different. It's closing out of their position. So margin calls could lead to the covering of short positions, but they don't always. The margin calls really just add as like they act as like a liquidity bleed out. It's like, well, they're now over leveraging themselves even more and catching a falling knife on their depreciating position. Let's see. I'm going to consult with the stars for when the MOS is going to happen. Feet, there you go. We need a lot more apes making ape music for all these live streams. We do. Martian, I think, has got some good stuff coming out soon. That's going to be cool. SCB, what is your favorite sauce? Avocado. It is not avocado sauce. I have tried avocado ranch before. Not a fan. Ring, ring, ring. Kenny boy, you better answer that. Yeah. All right. What time is it? We could check threshold list. Nothing's gonna happen though. We used to do that around the times of the threshold list. It doesn't really matter. It just shows that there's a lot of like BS happening with the stock. VIX, can you explain again how we can hit a gamma squeeze again? Are we looking at the same pattern as last month's rip? So I think you're referring to June. But yeah, great question. So gamma squeeze. This is September. So when we're looking at what happened in June compared to what we have now, there are a lot less contracts that could run in the money. We had I think at the height, we had 240,000 contracts at that June 18th expiration date. That means that there could have been potentially 2.4 million shares that needed to be bought by institutions to be directionally neutral. So that just adds to a lot of buying volume. Now, that's just the call side. If there were a bunch of put contracts in the money that then go out of the money, in order to hedge those puts, you have to short the stock. It has to do with this right here, this delta rating, which is essentially when you sell a call right here, this is a glitch. It should not be negative, but all of these have a positive decimal. When you sell it, it then becomes a negative delta position. Now I'm saying the word right now, please don't come get me. I'm talking about options and how to hedge things. If these little algorithms that try to get me for talking about gamma squeezes, I'm going to be very upset. So what you have to do is then you have to enter a position with a positive delta. What that means for calls is you would have to buy the stock. For puts, you have to short. Now, when those puts then run out of the money, you no longer need that hedge on. So then you cover that short-term short that you were using to hedge. So not only are you getting the buying volume from the calls running in the money, you are also getting the buying volume from the puts running out of the money. So when we think about this setup compared to June, well, we do have a decent amount of contracts at 40, and we had a bunch of contracts running the money this week, 34, 30, 35, 36, 37. That's a decent amount of buying volume. 1.4 million shares, 2.3 million, 1.1 million, 1.3 million. That's a decent amount of shares that we're seeing. It's about 10 million right now, according to Stonko Tracker. Very close. 10.4 million. So that's a decent amount of shares that could potentially need to be bought. So yeah, we could see more buying volume as we go up because these ratios are going to get higher. They need to buy more shares. And if we hit 40, we could see even more buying volume. So yeah, we could be in for like a little baby gamma squeeze. But if we see a technical breakout too and the FOMO rally start to happen, we could go even higher than that. SCB, was the GME run a result of shorts covering, or was it a massive gamma that never had a chance to squeeze because they took the button away? Yeah, pretty much. I think definitely some shorts were covering because like the smaller institutions, they're going to have to. I mean, you wouldn't see a lot of these institutions get like fail. Like Melvin needed a bunch of money. There was another fund over in the UK that basically failed due to their GameStop shorts. So yes, some shorts were covering, but again, it was a big FOMO rally too. Retail was really bidding that up. Definitely the best super chat. Well done, sir. Which one was it? Let's see. Took 1K in crypto profits recently, throwing it in AMC tomorrow. There you go, cynical. Niraj, it was 24 million for the June. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Yeah, it was 24 million for June. For share count will expose them. They're not going to be able to do one. Our best opportunity was that save vote, and we did get a decent understanding of how many shares could have been out there because we had more than 1% of shareholders voting. So the statistical significance gets really high because when you're doing a population analysis, I'm pretty sure you only need like 0.1% of the population in order to get a decent understanding, but it has to be a random sample. That's not what we had for AMC. So getting above 1% was big. But yeah, that number showed that there were between 1 and 5 billion shares out there, which is entirely possible. And that was a 99% confidence interval, which means that there's a 1% chance that the actual true amount of shares lies outside of that 1 to 5 billion range. Hey, Chris, how you doing, man? Let's see. Oh, Fee sold his calls for a loss. Should have held them. Yeah, it happens. All right, let's see. Options affect margin in a big way. Gary, only I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Oh, Alien, you're working on a song with Martian? Ooh, that's gonna be good. All of Martian songs have been crazy. They've been awesome. And then we've also had like Lamp On, Lamp Off. That's a good one. And Boom, what was the other one? Not a Dead Cat's a good one. Oh, what's up, Pam? Yeah, Pam's like the one. There was Pam, and then there was somebody else who has been holding since like a crazy long amount of time. What do you think about Robinhood buying Say Technologies? The timing is weird, but from what I've seen, they don't have like direct access to the data, so it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, it's like, Robinhood also has their earnings tomorrow, I believe. Fuzzy says 4139. Screenshot this. I'll get a tattoo if we close above this end of day Friday at close. Fuzzy, that's gonna be fun if we do that. Welcome to the jungle. That's where we're at right now. Bunch of dirty, smelly apes. I think so many people bought those 145 calls because they're so cheap. John, it really depends on when they bought them and for what expiration. Like there are some 145s that are expensive. Jim, thank you so much for the super. Again, thank you to all of you guys who are sending those in. Really means a lot. You guys don't have to do that. And without you guys, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this. So thank you. How do all the synthetics get covered if we aren't sure how many there are? Jim, that's a very good question. So the thing about those counterfeit or naked or synthetic shares is that they're on someone's balance sheet. They like somebody has like different institutions have a certain amount of AMC shares that they have sold short. They all know what their exposure is. So when their broker calls them or the stock gets too high where they're like, we need to get out of this position, they're all going to cover their portion. So it doesn't necessarily matter if it's a synthetic or a real share. If they need to close out of a short position, they're going to close their amount. Then the other people are also going to be closing out of their amount of shorts, and the other ones are going to be covering their amount. So it just kind of goes down the line of everybody kind of knows how much they have, and they're going to continue on that path, if that makes sense. But Jim, thank you so much for the super. That was a really good question. Unfortunately, I feel as though Robinhood will have good earnings. It's very possible. Ooh, Alien Apes got a song. Alien, send me a DM on Twitter with that one. TMI's Avocado says, I smell good. Thank you very much. TMI's Avocado, you're an ape in the jungle. So, STD, what's your OnlyFans account? I want to see more of you in the future. Literally, yum. Kyle, well, that's a weird question. But TMI and I have an OnlyFans account, but it's private. You're going to have to go search for it. If you can find it, that's awesome. If you can't, when do you sell options that go in the money? Whenever you want to take profit. When options go in the money, you can either sell your contract or you can then exercise. So those are the two different paths that you can take with closing out of an options contract that is up in value. Unbreakable Dad, thank you so much for becoming a member. So yeah, very quickly, guys, if you want to become a member of the channel and just help support, thank you. You guys don't have to if you don't want to. The main benefit is that you guys are going to get all of the updates first on the behind the scenes things that me and TMI have working in the background. So the podcast, the Discord, anything else that we're creating that we haven't told you guys about, that's how you're going to find out about it first and get first access to everything. So that's mainly what it is. If you don't want to join, don't. STV's OnlyFans is Chipotle Man. Henry, you got me. Not power half hour yet, people. We got like 45 minutes left till power half hour. What are you majoring in? I'm studying finance. But the only two classes that I've taken that are like applicable to things are basic econ, if you can apply it, and fixed income. That's a weird question. Wait till he starts getting asked for feet pics. Yeah. Oh, happy birthday. Thank you, Mark. Happy birthday to you too. It's not my birthday, but cool. Still holding and not tired, says Javier. There you go. You guys are funny. All right, let's head back to Ortex, get a little Ortex update, see if it's changed. Back up right around 18 now. So we did have a little bit of a short interest change in Ortex throughout this stream. So it was in that 17% range. Now it's up to 18%. So we do see it flicker around a little bit in the after hours. After hours is closed. AMC closed at 37.14, down 2 cents, down 0.05%. Basically nothing happened. And we had 6.19 million return shares, 1.87 million borrowed, with a net return of shares against AMC for 4.32 million. I'm refreshing Market Beat right now to see if they've fixed their problem, and they have not yet. So we're going to have to figure that out about the Market Beat situation. But let's see what happens. What time is the live stream over? We go till 10 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Eastern. Let's see. Oh, Larry Underpants, what did you miss? Not much, man. We've just been going over some institutional ownership stuff. So right here, we saw Citadel decrease their position size by 81% in AMC for their long position, but you can't see it here because I don't know what my Fintel password is, which kind of sucks. But Citadel increased their put and call position, so they just increased their options exposure on both sides. So they decreased their share amount, but they increased their puts and calls. Now, what that could signify is that they're engaging in those weird option strategies to create synthetic shares. The issue is that we don't know, when we're never going to see in the reporting, if they have shorted options. Not necessarily if they've just sold options, but if they've shorted contracts. They easily could have, and that could be one of the ways that they could be creating their synthetic positions. But again, we're never really going to know for sure because the reporting is just so terrible on how everything gets reported right now. And then also we went over the little bit of a gamma squeeze potential for this week. We've got a bunch of contracts running in the money. At the current time, we have 104,000 contracts expiring in the money right now, and an additional 13,000 at 38. And then if we can break 40, that's an additional, I believe, 36,000 right here, which could send us even higher because of all of that buying volume that could get pushed into the stock. Password's Chipotle. It is not Chipotle. SCV, do we need to have 90 to 100% utilization rate to trigger the squeeze? No. I mean, to trigger the squeeze, all that has to happen is the shorts need to cover their position. But when you think about those like forced share recalls that could have happened and likely did happen back in June, when the utilization was at like 99.99%, making AMC an incredibly hard to borrow stock, it just kind of adds fuel to the fire and puts more pressure on not only the lenders of securities, so the prime brokers or other institutions, but the individuals or institutions that are taking out short positions against AMC. SCV, how did you learn all this? Too much for my old brain. I have a very addictive personality, so if I find something that I like, I just dive in. Tyler says, how do I become a member? I'm pretty sure there should just be like a join button around the stream somewhere, and then you just click that. I wonder if I can put a trailer hitch on a Lamborghini to pull my boat. Jerry, if you did that, that would be the most gangster thing I've ever seen. Did you just say that you have an OnlyFans with TMI? That's weird. Yeah, I know. That's why we have it. Liquid IV in my veins? Nah. All right, let's do some more questions. That's mainly what these streams are for. It's just to answer everybody's questions. Pam studied finance too, but years ago, Pam, I don't know if it's changed very much. It's the same BS. Is there a way they can hide the number of synthetics? Yes, we've been over that a few times. They can, because think about what happened with the Save vote. The Save vote said that there was between 1 and 5 billion shares out there with a 99% confidence interval and more than 1% of shareholders voting. Okay, cool. So if there's that many shares out there, a lot of them have been sold short. So the short interest should be way higher. But when we're looking at the reported data on Ortex, the exchange reported short interest is like 16.79%. So, okay. So that doesn't match up at all with what the potential amount of short interest should be if there's that many shares out there. So what they can do is they can do those weird option strategies where they sell a call, buy the synthetic longs from the market maker. They are essentially meeting the closeout requirements from their broker. So it looks like they're covered, so it most likely wouldn't show up in the short interest. There's been many SEC filings about this. I don't have them up right now, but I could do another video on them. But yeah, that's how they like hide their short interest. There was also a good Seeking Alpha article about that as well. Are you still in college? Laura, yeah, I have one more year. I'm going into my senior year, and I move in about 4 days to my apartment. I know this is pure guessing, but considering the YouTube movement, Reddit, do you think most people will all support each other and be diamond hands? I think a lot of people are in this for life-changing money. And I think the fact that we've had so much time to educate ourselves on this situation, it just strengthens the retail community. But again, we also have to remember that the institutions are buying as well, and they didn't even think about selling when we got to 77. So that tells us that the institutions think that the stock is going to go a lot higher as well, and they are playing the short squeeze thesis as well. Because if they were investing on the fundamentals of the company and the stock went to 77, they'd all be out. If the short squeeze thesis was not real, then the institutions would not have held through those high levels. They would have just sold, because the fundamental value of AMC right now is not $77 a share. It could be. There was that free cash flow analysis that I brought up to you guys one time that said that it could be worth $72 a share if they tweak some things. But again, it's not valued at that right now in terms of like fundamental value. It's probably higher than it was last year and the years before because of what they're doing with the company, but it's not there. So the fact that they have held it through the stock getting maybe 100% fundamentally overvalued, which is what a lot of these institutions base a lot of their trades on, it shows us that they are in it for the squeeze. Lots of synthetics put into ETF. It could. I don't know, though. That's a weird one. When utilization hits 100%, is it a wrap? Lewis, not necessarily, because look at this right here. Utilization hit 100% April 21st. We waited all the way until the end of May. That's about a month before we saw a really significant price movement in AMC. So when we hit utilization numbers of like above 98%, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next big run up is going to happen right away. But if we can stay there, it's like, okay, game on, something is going to come within the next couple of months, because it just makes it so hard for them to get more shares to short. So they're not going to be able to pump as much selling volume into the market, which would push the price down. And the cost to borrow on those shares is going to be so sky high that not a lot of people are going to be willing to pay that rate. RM Games, my son got me an AMC. We have both been holding since March. There you go. Shout out to your son. Fundamentals would price AMC in the $20 to $30 range. I would say that after their earnings, with what they have coming up, the new theaters, the deal with Warner Brothers, if they can really crush it in Q3 and Q4, I think their fundamental value is going to be between 35 and 45. But it doesn't matter what the fundamental value is of the company if there's that big overlooming short squeeze thesis. Like, yeah, obviously good fundamental news for AMC could definitely push the share price up, and it's way better than having bad fundamental news. But again, when we're thinking about the short squeeze, it's kind of like a separate thing. It's like, have the shorts covered? No. Is the company getting better fundamentally and crushing the short thesis? Yeah. Okay, we're still winning. Around how much do you think it costs Citadel daily to short AMC? Laura, I would like to see evidence that Citadel is actually shorting AMC. They've kind of been labeled this big bad guy, and nobody really knows if they're the one shorting because of the way that short interest is reported. We just don't know. It easily is 100% possible that they are the big bad guy in this situation, but it's also equally as possible that Citadel is complicit in this. We have a lot of other institutions that are complicit as well, and it's just kind of been all of these institutions coming together and making this an issue. Like, it's not one institution that caused this. Like, it would just be the dumbest move ever, and they would have gotten out early. But if it's a lot of different institutions, that's kind of why this can really get out of hand. Riptide, thank you so much for that big super chat, man. Really, really appreciate it. STV, thank you for all you do. I'm trying my hand at YouTube with a single AMC video. Check it out and rip me apart. Oh, I won't do that. I have thick skin. I'm here for the squeeze. Riptide, that's awesome, man. Good luck. It is a little bit of a different game. Like, if you go back and watch my earliest videos, you'll be like, how did anybody ever listen to this? There's a learning curve, and you have to learn to deal with people that don't want to listen to you, but then listen to you anyway, and then tell you they don't want to listen to you. But again, it's just silly people on the internet. But good luck, man. YouTube's a fun time. Is AMC safe from a market crash? Okay, let's go into this as well. So for the longest time, not for the longest time, but for the last couple of months, people have been circulating around that AMC had a negative beta. What a beta is it's one given stock's correlation to the overall market. If the stock has a negative beta, then it means it has a negative correlation. So if the market goes up, then that stock should go down. If the market goes down, then that stock should go up. The short interest from Ortex just switched again. So then, sorry about that. Then when we're thinking about AMC, well, AMC's numbers on a 5-year beta were positive. So that means that they had a positive correlation to the market. On a 1-year, it showed, I've seen it a couple of times, that AMC had a wildly negative beta. But we've also seen AMC on like a day-to-day basis sort of follow the way the market moves. You can't look at it by like a minute-by-minute candle, but AMC has kind of tracked where the market was. It has had some divergences, but at the same time, if the overall market is going to go down for whatever reason, we know that the shorts are already trying to push the share price of this down. So they're going to add to their short position. But here's the thing. It's entirely possible that, say, AMC is trading at 37 right now, and that level is right here. But then the market really corrects and they short it all the way down to here. Well, there's more shorts in this range that have been added, and you got to think about the way that algorithms run the market. I've said this a bunch of times. If the shorts short all the way down, then their algos could then switch to buy. And then we're starting the squeeze from a lower level, but then there's just more shorts to cover. So it doesn't really change anything. So then that brings us back to, well, the price is getting ping ponged around, but the shorts haven't really covered. They're just adding to their short position. So nothing has really changed. Hopefully that made some sense. We want a bunch of institutions to dump. Little guys will go first and trigger the big guys falling. Yeah. I mean, the little guys are going to be the ones that take the biggest hits and probably will fail. The big guys will probably just take very substantial losses and survive. That's my kind of theory. But still going to get paid when and if it squeezes. Can a market correction cause the MOAS or vice versa? Yeah, going along with that, a market correction could then push the share price down, so it's like the final boss of a sell-off, and then it comes up. This is why I look at the Volkswagen chart, because they squeezed in like the worst days of the 2008 crash. So there's a comparison that a squeeze can happen in those types of situations. And two, can it happen the other way around? Well, if there are that many amount of shares out there, that 1 billion to 5 billion number, that there's all of those shorts just floating around in the worldwide markets, then if they have to liquidate other positions to cover those shorts, then that's going to cause sell-offs in other positions that could trip margin calls for other institutions, or liquidations for other institutions that don't even have any exposure to AMC. So I do believe it's possible, but only if the amount of shares that are actually out there is that crazy. Yeah, we are not going to talk about that P word. We are not going. Not happening. No way. Bro, you are the best. You are helping my conviction. Hugo, thank you. I just try to provide information to people. And then AMC beta is 1.3. Gary, I think that's off of like Yahoo. Infront Analytics, which is the software that a lot of the hedge funds use, have it at about, I think it was negative. I saw Bloomberg at -17. I also saw Bloomberg at -5. I think Infront Analytics was -3. So there are different data sources. I honestly could probably just calculate the beta for you guys. It would just be really annoying. I would just have to load in the daily returns of the S&P over the last year, AMC's over the last year, and do like a covariance variance analysis on it. And then I would come up with the number. Maybe I could work on that this weekend, because Saturday I may not be able to come out with a video. So if I can't, because I'm moving that day, that'll be what I do. I'll calculate the beta for AMC so we can actually have a number. SB, if the institutions sell during the squeeze, could their selling pressure ruin the height of the squeeze can go? Not necessarily. They could sell at the lower levels, and it doesn't really matter, because they're still going to, if we are squeezing and they are selling, it doesn't necessarily matter, because there's going to be retail selling too, and they need to meet the bid price of the shorts covering. So they're going to have these bid prices to buy, and if they wipe out all of these sell orders, then it's just going to go up and up and up and up. If there's not enough people to take care of all of those buys, then the price is going to continuously go up, and that is where the we set the price comes from. Tabasco Dave, thank you so much for the super. Grab yourself a beer sometime on me. Dave, thank you so much, man. I definitely will. Yeah, I'll calculate. Yeah, I'll see if I can do the beta calculation. I have a spreadsheet somewhere, or I know somebody that has a beta spreadsheet, and all I would have to do is just load the information in, and it would do it for me. You will be the smartest student in your class after this. Thanks for all your DD and analysis. Laura, thank you. I'm going to have to get a understanding with my teachers, being like, hey, I have this thing I do. I'm a finance major, so I feel like some of my teachers would be pretty cool. Infront is that Joe B says, is that negative 4.17 on the 1 year? Yeah, that's what a lot of the hedge funds use for data. And I've confirmed that with people, that their fund uses Infront Analytics. But again, you can calculate beta a variety of different ways, but I don't really think it matters. It doesn't matter, because that's it's just an indicator that says, well, this should happen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to move that way. Let's see. Oh yeah, Tabasco Dave, thank you so much for that, Superman. Really appreciate it. Trying to calculate that would make me have a seizure. Oh, it's not bad. It's just an equation. You just have to load in a bunch of stuff, and it's not that bad. Ken Griffin became an ape. No. How exactly did short seller Porsche stop the yeah, no, Porsche owned Volkswagen. That's kind of how they started to squeeze because Porsche disclosed a giant ownership percentage in terms of shares and options, and the German government owned a significant amount. So they had like an a mid to upper, I think 90% ownership, and the short interest was 12.5%. So everybody saw that and was like, well, they can't cover their shorts even if they wanted to. So what I've heard the rumors are is it was more of a controlled situation where it was like, yeah, we'll let you get out at this price because we've like got, it was like a gotcha moment. We caught you. Nothing is ever guaranteed in the market. Exactly. Are you talking about beta testing? No, 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 no. It's a. I'll pull it up. I'll pull up the definition of beta. Why is Market Beat being such an idiot tonight? Making me upset. Just kidding. I don't really care. I know what the numbers are. All right. Here we go. What is the beta? Beta is a measure of a stock's volatility in relation to the overall market. By definition, the market, such as the S&P 500 index, has a beta of 1. And individual stocks are ranked according to how much they deviate from the market. A stock that swings more than the market over time has a beta above 1. If you have a negative beta, then that means you're inversely correlated. So if you had a beta of -1, if the S&P were to move up $1 or 1%, then you would expect that stock over a year time or whatever the time frame is to go down by that same percentage or gain or dollar amount. When is power half hour? Power half hour is in 24 minutes. Let's see. Citadel is not the only hedge fund shorting. I think there are second or third on the list, though, as in highest position. Bill, I haven't seen anything that says Citadel is shorting. It's just people saying that they're shorting. Nobody really does. If there's evidence, though, of them like really over leveraging on a short, you can call me wrong all day long, and I'm fine with that. It's fine. But I'm just saying I don't think there's a lot of evidence right now, according to the filings that we've seen, that suggest Citadel shorting. But again, you don't have to report a short position in your 13F. They actually tell you not to. Jeremy, it's not options beta. It's just the what do you call it? It's just the correlation between how the market moves and how a given stock will move over a period of time. That's basically what it is. Beautiful. That is one thing I really. Yeah. 42. Have fun. This makes my brain hurt. Beta coefficient is calculated by dividing the covariance of a stock's return with market returns by the variance of market return. Gary, there you go. Covariance equals the product of the standard deviation of the stock return, standard deviation of the market return, and correlation coefficient. Gary, yep, I have a spreadsheet that kind of does it. I honestly don't think I have it anymore because my old computer is so bad that it just like can't hold a bunch of stuff on it. So it's just me with just a bunch of my YouTube video files. And even then it's like, yeah, no, sorry, you have run out of space. I'm like, oh, come on. So I just end up having to delete a bunch of stuff. But I definitely know people that have this because we had to do it for one of my finance classes. It was like calculate the beta. I think we used Apple for an example. And what is the beta of that stock compared to the S&P? And we just did it. So there's just a spreadsheet. Citadel just bought, didn't they? Matt's totally real oil. No, they sold. This is something that got very misrepresented across the board, and is what my video is about today. This column that you see right here is the percentage change in the share amount that they had. We can come back up here. It's going to be a little bit right here. Shares changed percentage. So when it's highlighted in red and -100 means that they closed out of their entire position. A green position means it's newly initiated. So when we come down here, Citadel, where is it? Citadel Advisors LLC, 136,000 shares, -81% in terms of the amount of shares that they had compared to the previous quarter. So they sold off 81% of their AMC position. So they did not buy. Let's see. Oh, Ashraf, thank you so much for the super. I really appreciate it, man. I believe the short strategy is to let the price run up without a squeeze to pick people off with hundreds. Change in strategy. They don't want a cover squeeze. Interesting. Yeah, I've seen that too. Like that whole fake squeeze argument to entice people to sell at these like lower numbers in terms of what the squeeze could potentially get to. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. If they have the ability to manipulate the stock that much, then I could definitely see them doing that. And with the amount of money that they have and the amount of like political pull that they have, I think they could do it. But who really knows? But Ashraf, thank you so much for that super. Let's see. Yeah, so Citadel did not buy. Joe B sent a screenshot to my Twitter. Let's see. What do we got here? Uh, ba, 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 ba. Okay. So, Joe, that what they're saying right there is that like Melvin has taken a bunch of money from Citadel and Melvin lost like the money. That's what that screenshot is. So it kind of suggests that Citadel is like directly shorting. They easily could be. But without like a direct filing that says they're like wildly over leveraged, we just don't know. And that's not me saying like, oh, Citadel's the good guy. No, their market making activities are bad. They should not really have that much control over the entire market. And there still should be regulation surrounding that. It's just I just want people to understand that they're not the only bad guy here. It's like here's the other thing. Here's the one thing that I've talked about in the past. Say you have like 10 pounds of candy and you give it to a child. The child eats the candy and now doesn't feel good and they're complaining and they're sick now. Well, whose fault is it really? It's like, well, yeah, the child ate the candy, but what are they going to do if you give them a bunch of candy? They're going to eat it. That's the hedge fund in this example. But the person who gave them the candy is really to blame. So who would that be in this situation? Well, an institution loaning the shares or the prime brokerage operations at these large banking institutions. They're the ones that are facilitating the loaning out of a lot of these shares. So there's more than one bad guy, and not bad guy, but like culprit and a facilitator and people who are complicit in this situation than just Citadel. That's the only point of me that I'm trying to get across. It's like, it's not just one person, it's multiple. Sorry, I just started investing. I have 2 shares of AMC. What should I be doing? Lonely Pizza. You got to do whatever you want to do, man. It's your money. You got to decide what you do with it. CT, thank you so much for the super. I really appreciate it, man. There's a lot of confusion on 005. When is it supposed to go into effect? Set the record straight for the apes, please. CT, I'm guessing you're referring to NSCC 005. What I have heard is that it doesn't matter if it goes on the register. It just matters if it's actually been in effect. I've seen that it's been approved on an accelerated basis, and that is usually within 20 days that it is legally enforceable. That is what I've seen. So I'm gonna go off that. But again, I'm not really too amped up about it. Like, yeah, it is that one time 250,000 per account margin deposit. That's good. It's coming really soon. And again, I don't think it's honestly almost better not to know the date that it comes into effect and be legally enforceable, because then everybody's going to start hyping up the date. And then everybody's going to get disappointed that we don't have the MOAS on that date. It's like, yeah, well, it's coming. It's coming soon, but it's almost better not to know the date, because then people are going to be like, oh my God, it's coming. Same thing with that September 1st date. I don't want people hyping it up too much, because one, you're not going to see the crazy squeeze on that date. It's possible, but it will just be a correlation versus causation situation. Ashraf, thank you so much for another super. I don't like the Ortex numbers today playing games. I mean, they play games with us in the after hours all the time. Like, it flicked back up to 18%. Now it's down here. Utilization's now a little bit down. This returned share amount, it's very possible that some of those were the shares that were returned they were from the 14 million shares that went out on loan that one day. If that makes sense. Like, they may not have shorted. That doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense, because when you're going to enter into a new short position, you don't necessarily want the stock to be at a low. You want it to be kind of peaking and coming down. So right now, if you're thinking about it, if you're a fund, you either know that the stock is going to keep going up and you're not going to take that short position, or you're doing some weird backward stuff in order to just take shares out on loan, mess with the short interest, and then give them right back by paying a little bit of interest. Which, if they wanted to mess with us that bad, they would just have those idiots at CNBC just come out and try to spread FUD and then rank them at the top of YouTube search. Right. I don't want to see apes making decisions based on that going live and then it doesn't go live when they think. CT, 100%, man. What's the P word? I don't know what the P word is. What do you think about this fake squeeze scenario that's been thrown around? Lonnie, we just kind of addressed that. It's going to be really hard to tell when we're actually squeezing. My two indicators that I was thinking of for a while were market-wide sell-off and hedge fund bankruptcies, and you're going to see that in the news. The issue is that those bankruptcies could take a long time to play out, and the squeeze could already be over by the time we see a lot of these funds go down. So the market-wide sell-off theory would only really apply if they're really liquidating positions and we see those fire sales. But now with that NSCC rule with the SFT and they're able to like pledge assets, get cash, and then cover their positions, that prevents those fire sales. So it's going to be harder for us to see. But again, I think it really comes down to we're going to see those parabolic moves. And it then comes back to having your own plan. If you have like a set price that you want to get out at, then you got to kind of really stick to that price and your own strategy with what you're going to need for the future. Real talk, STV, nobody knows the time. Everyone just be patient. It will pay off in the long run. Bathing ape, I agree. What's the real P word? I don't know. Is it Powell? Ortex gets its info from 85% of the entities loaning shares. They don't all live report during the day. Some report what they loaned out at the end of day. Best Ortex numbers are just before open. Yeah. So like I don't think it's going to flicker around anymore. We typically don't see it after 9. 9's usually when it messes with me. The first time that happened though, and I saw it change when I was live, I thought I was going crazy. Oh my God. Sean, thank you so much for that giant super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sean says, I love you all, but I love at Pam the Trader most. Oh, man. Sean, thank you so much, man. The real question is Lamborghini or Ferrari? Ferrari all day long. Sean, thank you so much, dude. SEV, if a technical pattern goes into after hours and it diverges, will that pattern generally have any effect during the open? It shouldn't, because then we have pre-market trading. Then we have what people are going to do in the right as the market opens. Like they're setting up orders. Like pre-market, like we've seen it so many times. Like especially today, we were down almost 3% in the pre-market. And then we ripped on the open. We ripped green, and then we kept going all the way up to 38.77. It's like, okay, well, we're going to see exactly what's going on. Oh, Pam the Trader's in here too. What's up, Pam? I think Pam's popping in and out, but shout out to Pam. Pam is a real estate agent, I believe, in Southern California. So shout out to Pam. If you guys need a house, definitely give Pam a call. Yeah. Sean, I don't know if you were in here yesterday, but everybody said that I banned you and I was defending you because I would never ban you. I was like, Sean always comes in with the funny comments. Unless you say something like bannable, then I'm not going to ban you. And I honestly don't ban anybody unless it's like a obvious shill or like FUD being spread. I'm usually pretty liberal with the timeout buttons though. Will that margin call force buybacks incrementally or immediate buyback of all shorted shares? I'm not sure, actually. Hold on. The ban was a joke, SCV? I know. I will need an agent after the squeeze. Lonnie, that's interesting. How much Kenny paying you? Kenny ain't that bad. Ha ha ha. Shill, Vincent. That's I mean, Vincent, I'll give you a chance on that one, but that's gonna be a ban right there if you come in with that. Is the housing bubble burst cup coming soon? I think it's gonna be a slow bleed with the rates. If they start to increase rates, then it's going to push housing prices down. And we're just gonna have to see what happens with all these potential evictions coming. Let's see. Will we ever find out how many FTDs or naked shorts there are? I mean, we know how many FTDs there are, but we probably won't know how many like synthetic counterfeit or the total amount of shares in circulation. Because one, if you know the total amount of shares in circulation right at this moment, it's going to change tomorrow. Gold is going up in the aftermarket. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not really, Ashraf, like 9 cents. That's not really. I mean, gold move 0.15. The gold moves usually aren't that big. We'll have to see what happens there. We did have that little flash, not like a flash crash, but this sell-off in gold right here. Hold on, let me look. 1 month. Yeah, we had this big dip in gold. That could have been like a manufactured dip in order for institutions to buy this GLD ETF at a lower value because of these potential really high inflationary times that we have coming up, and they want to be able to preserve their buying value, buying power. Sorry, I can't even talk. Let's see. Let's see. Avocado sauce. TMI's avocado is always saying some funny stuff. With nobody working and evictions happening and the market's taking a dump, we'll be a third world country. I disagree. I think we're going to be all right. Well, there's a lot of things that we have to keep a lookout for, though. Like at the end of September, beginning of October, we're going to have to look at those. What do you call it? Those credit, the credit rating downgrades. If we get the United States credit downgraded, market tank. Are they going to default? I highly doubt it. Highly doubt they're going to default. CNBC article now about loading up on gold. Ashraf, were you the one yesterday that told me about the CNBC Pro coming out with a statement that said a correction could come after this week because of those options? I mean, that's kind of a bold statement for them to make. I haven't seen the actual article though that they put out. CNBC article now about loading up on gold. Yeah, I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that they're going to be starting to buy gold just as a hedge against inflation and to preserve their buying power. There's also some bonds that you can buy as well. TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, I believe is the acronym for them. Alien Ape just sent you 3 picks you might like, and other apes also check it out in your Twitter DMs. Alien Ape, I will take a look at that. Let's see. What do you think about the fake squeeze? All right, guys. Are we gonna am I gonna have to make a video about the fake squeeze coming up soon? A lot of people are asking about this fake squeeze coming. I mean, it's possible that we see a price run up, but that does not necessarily mean it's a fake squeeze. Typically in these type of market situations, it's not one cause for something happening. Like there's going to be many different things working that one we probably won't see, but a lot of people are going to say it's this or it's that. It's like most likely it's this, that, and the other thing. And we just don't know which one's having the most weight, but they're all affecting the situation. Gold is a flight to safety. Yeah. Also, what did the 10-year do today? I didn't look at that. When the 10-year yield goes down, it suggests that a lot of people are piling into treasuries. And that last 10-year auction was very important. It was like one of the highest accepted, I think it's tendered amounts is what it would be called. Let's see. 10-year yield was up a little bit today. Not much. Still on a downtrend. What WTF is a fake squeeze. So people talk about the fake squeeze and what they're referring to is like a fake price run up in order to bait retail or shareholders of the AMC into selling their position. And then the price could come back down and they could cover some of their shares and yada, yada, yada. But you never really know. I did make a video on that way back when. I was like, don't fall for any of this BS. Like, it's just not. If the shorts haven't covered, it's like, okay, then you're going to be able to see that it's like a fake price movement. Like, we won't be doing these 100, 200% up, 50% down parabolic crash moves if it's a fake squeeze. Sean says it's not really a fake squeeze, but it will rise up to shake out some AMC traders. Then it will fall and rise up again, I believe. Yeah, that's exactly what people are referring to. Fake squeeze is FUD. They couldn't possibly control a squeeze. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not the real squeeze. Fuzzy says, I'm holding you to it, CT. Come over. I have tons of space. The food and beer will be flowing. My treat. CT, are you actually from CT? Yeah, aka a bull trap, 100%. Storing my gold in my phone would make it too heavy. Oh, you know who has a lot of, I'm pretty sure it's mostly silver, but also some gold. We got somebody in here. I think they're still in here that has a lot. Big Yellow Bird, SCB will silver rise as well. I seen it in 2008. It was up about 200%. Is that realistic to see this year if the Jackson Hole meeting says we taper in 5 months, all buybacks? If we start to really let inflation run out of control, then yes, silver and gold will rip. It just preserves your buying power. Oh, LA? Okay. Interesting. The real squeeze would be a domino effect, says Frodo. Yeah, I would agree with that. Gold calls now for September, says Ashraf. Yeah, I was looking at those too. They're a little expensive. I'll still take a look. The issue is with all of these market plays is that I'm looking for confirmation. Like, it's better to be late than wrong. Like, if what all I've been seeing is correct, I would much rather wait for confirmation from the Fed, the government, or any other market move that's going to tell me, okay, you're right, go for it. But trying to time it is hard. You could be early, your position could go way against you and come back, and now you're at break even and you didn't make any money. So what I'm waiting for is really some confirmation to see what exactly the market is going to do in Q4. We're seeing it rip right now with everything going on. It's headed up. We had a little bit of turbulence today, but overall, it's still trending to the upward direction. So we'll see. The Fed doesn't want it to really come down because if it does crash, one, everybody's over leveraged still, even though we're seeing signs of some deleveraging. It's not going to be a healthy situation for our economy. I mean, it never is, but especially right now with what the Fed has done over the last year and where we're headed right now, it would be a very bad situation, in my opinion, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But there's money to be made. But that's why I'm kind of waiting for confirmation. Has there been any shorting this week? It seems like the percentage dropped. King Black, yeah, there's always shorting. It's just this flow of shares going out on loan, shares getting shorted, shares coming back, and it just keeps going. There could have been a net return that pushed the short interest down, but that doesn't mean that there's still not new shorts coming in or adding to short positions. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Preston? TMI's avocado says not a fan of gold, not reliable, inflation hedge, and too volatile. Tends to spike with market downturn, then follows the market. Yeah, it could. But still, if it spikes, there's money to be made. But then there's that timing aspect to it. So, there's going to be a lot of research that needs to go into this. There are other things that I'm looking at right now in terms of a market correction play, like bond plays. Those are going to be very lucrative in terms of like these bond ETFs. TLT is one of them. You could play HYG or LQD. TLT is probably going to be one of the most liquid option chains that you could play, but we'll see. It's just good that people believe a fake squeeze might happen because paper hands could be holding for longer then. Maybe. People use profits to buy the dip. Yeah, I also think that with the money, the potential money that people are going to be making from this AMC squeeze, that it's going to be put back into the economy. One, capital gains tax. The government is probably going to be able to make a decent amount of money off of this situation. Cool. Do whatever you want. It's going to happen anyway. But I think with the lifestyle that people are accustomed to right now, I don't know where everybody's situation's at, but they're going to be putting that money back into the economy, which is good. Ashraf, thank you so much for another super chat, man. No potty for Wall Street. Inflation is up on working Americans and they inflated the market. They dug their grave, dude. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm just saying I'm waiting for like a confirmation for a big move, like something that says it's go time. It could be right now. I just haven't seen it yet. Keenan Grace's bow tie clip. TLT is the way to go. It could be. TLT plays are usually big. Would the Fed force the squeeze instead of market crash? The Fed can't really force the squeeze. Let's see. Let's see. Isn't AMC the best market correction play? Yeah, it can be. 100% it can be. We just don't know how it's going to play out. There's other ways to play the market correction, but at the same time, there's no guarantee that it's going to happen when I think it could maybe happen. Nobody knows. It could happen Q4, which is where the projections have kind of said for a while. I think Ray Dalio has been talking about that, but he's also kind of perma-bear sometimes, that the wave of deleveraging would happen Q4 2021. And we've already started to see it happen according to the margin debt. We know that the derivative exposure is incredibly high among the top 4 commercial banking institutions. And we know that those margin calls on a lot of those derivative positions are coming. We have the NSCC and the DTCC coming out with these proposed rule changes, which one, nobody can really see the impact of those. But I believe that they're working the way that they're supposed to. Keenan Grace's bow tie clip. TLT is my friend. Keenan Grace's bow tie clip. How many TLTs have you hit? Did you hit the August one of 2019 or did you hit the March one of 2020? I believe both of them were very similar and very lucrative. But TLT might be broken now. That's the issue. Just read Palantir purchased 50 million in gold bars. They did. I saw that. Those are some smart people over there too. Let's see. Capital gains is a federal tax, says Eric. There you go. Let's see. Yeah. This is I really do think that we're reversing the trend right now. When we go to this AMC chart right here and we look at what we've done over the past couple of months, a really big downturn. We bounced up to this $46 range. Cool. Came back down, bounced up to around 38. We hit this 38 mark pretty recently. Now, if we can break above this, that's going to be very good news because one, this is also a monthly options expiration week, and I'm going to keep talking about that. I'm not guaranteeing anything though when I'm talking about these options. They most likely, if the stock keeps going up, they're going to provide more buying volume, which is going to be good for us. But at the same time, we need to get up to those levels. So if we don't, we're not going to have any more of that extra fuel to the fire buying volume. Oh, Keenan Grace's bow tie clip hit the March one. I think you know who Josh is. Oh, what's up, Donnie? Eric Harper. Yes, you don't have a state tax on top of it. So much better. There you guys go. Yeah, but again, guys, if you're talking, if you're gonna like have questions about anything like tax or accounting related, definitely just call a CPA. Especially post squeeze, you're gonna need a lawyer, accountant, And don't skimp out on any of those because the amount of money that they're going to be able to save and help you out is going to be very well worth it. So make sure you guys get a good one. No state income tax in Florida. Cap gains is federal. Yep. Kathy Wood tweet. Ooh, what's she saying? Is she going to come at Michael Burry? Because that would be the most hilarious Twitter drama of all time. I also don't think Michael Burry's Twitter is like activated. Kathy. What did Kathy say? Nothing really. 14 hours ago, then she retweeted something from 8 hours ago. Nothing crazy. Should we try to make money on the way down from the squeeze? Eric, you can. The only issue is that you're going to have to time it. You're like actually going to have to like go out and say, yep, you're going to have to know when the top is. If you can figure out when the top is, more power to you. But trying to play it on the way down is going to be a very risky play. And if you've already cashed out of your AMC gains, you're just going to have to do a little bit of a cost benefit analysis and be like, do I want to chase this and make more money off of this stock? And if you think, yeah, go for it. If you don't, then don't go for it. What do you think of Robinhood's earnings tomorrow? I think with the amount of trading that have been, like the amount of new retail investors that have been trading and came into the market, even with the January situation with all these transfers out and what people have been talking about with payment for order flow, I still think they have the potential to do well. If they miss, Robinhood is going to tank. But if they beat, they're probably going to have a decent price run up. It's just going to wait and see. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of eyes on it. Donnie says there are a few states that don't have state taxes, hence the retirement communities are larger there. Yeah, for sure. I think it's 13 of them. I could be wrong, but I think it's 13 states. I could be wrong on that number, but it's like North Carolina, I believe, is one of them. Texas, I think. No taxes for me, says Tube. My AMC is in a Roth IRA. There you go. Also, guys, it is power half hour. So let it rip if you want to. We'll have some fun. Fee rounds with AMC. If they increase long-term capital gains, I think it would entice more long-term holders to switch to swing trade because it won't matter anymore. Some hold just to avoid taxes. Yeah, we're going to have to see really what happens. Donnie says Florida, Texas, Nevada, North or South Dakota, and probably a couple more, but that's all I know. I think, Donnie, I think Texas is one of them. But I'm not sure. Puerto Rico is the best, says Sean Zane. Oh, you're right, man. They might be, but direction / outlook is not going to be great. TMI, it's avocado. I don't know, man. I really don't know about them. I honestly don't know. I think I don't really want this to be the case for what they've done, but I honestly think that their business is like, I don't think they're doing that bad. They could be doing terrible. I don't know. But with the amount of people that are like getting into trading, learning about the markets, Robinhood is sometimes one of the first places that they go. Like I get Robinhood ads all the time. All the time. Puerto Rico doesn't pay any, but you give up your voting rights. Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure if you establish your business in Puerto Rico, it's like 7% income tax. It's something crazy low. What is avocado? You want to say avocado? People think I say button weird too. It's just let me be, guys. SUV, since neither one is here, who got oh Chio? Opportunity zones allow us to defer capital gains tax until 2026. Yeah, there's a lot of see, I don't want to say it like that, but there's a lot of opportunity in the opportunity zones. I'd have to look more into that. I believe real estate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're right on that one, Adam. I have heard that. Fuzzy, my first ever option contracts are just learning. I want that 145 expiring the January 2022. Tabasco Dave, be careful when you're trading options. The thing that we always say is don't trade with an amount that you're not willing to lose. And if And if you want to learn, the best thing to do is paper trade to just see how it moves. The only thing you're not going to get from paper trading is seeing real money on the line either really increase in value really quickly, and you're going to have to deal with those emotions of, should I sell? Or two, you're going to see money evaporate really quickly, and you're going to have to deal with those emotions too. But if it's a paper trading account, it's more like, it's fake money. It doesn't really matter. So that's the one thing you don't get. But testing a strategy or figuring out what contracts, like types of contracts you want to buy, puts, calls, in the money, out of the money, close to the money. That's a great way to learn. Sean says I speak very well. Thank you. Oh, you guys are wild tonight. SCB, can I transfer shares held in a personal account to be transferred to a business account for tax purposes? I don't. I don't know about that one. Let's see. I'm happy to help you on your journey. It's well worth the time to learn. Yeah, fuzzy, 100%. Definitely not New York. You guys get, Ashraf. You guys have city, state, and federal. Whew, you guys get, if you're in New York City, you get toasted. Tabasco Dave, yeah, anytime, man. Let's see. Yeah, I mean it is power half hour. So let's see. Geo has been saying some wild stuff. So is TMI's avocado. We'll see how it goes though. TMI's golden guys. I made one joke on TMI stream today and you guys went nuts. Also, for everybody that's in here right now, how is the quality of the video? Is it clear to everybody now? That's what I really want to know because I can't really see it on Restream or YouTube very well. So is it good now compared to last week? Oh no, Mike V, I see you. What did you say? I'll scroll back up. What did Mike V say? Is there a way to see the shorts covering when they do? Like, will it be a rapid rise with huge volume? Yeah, that's going to be one of the ways to really see what's going on. We're like, the price movement is going to be parabolic. We're also going to have to look at the option chain to see if we're in a gamma squeeze. But yeah, when we see these massive price movements, some shorts are going to cover. It's just how many shorts are going to be covering. Quality is fine. Oh, there we go. You're as beautiful as ever. Thank you. Clear as Hedgie's going out of business. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah. For some reason, it just never worked and it made me angry. Because, like, we pay for this service and then it came out blurry. I was like, what am I using you for? And then they were like, oh, pay us more money and then your stream will be clear. And I was like, you guys stink. Frodo says, I'm listening to you while working remotely from home. It's late to be working. I mean, technically I'm working right now, but not really. Looking good on my 4K Roku. Do you guys watch me on like your TVs? That's kind of cool. On the phone, so small SE actually is clearer than Matt's. Really? I think they use like OBS and stuff. I don't. Oh, SE, you never clarified your favorite sauces. Okay, barbecue, ranch, and then there's like special sauces. Chick-fil-A sauce, definitely up. Damn, you guys are making me hungry. What else do we have? How bullish are you feeling for this Friday's expirations? If we can continue this move up, we're going to see a lot of those contracts in the money, and we could see not only some more buying volume going into this week, but depending on how many contracts get exercised into the beginning of next week as well, could be a very good start to next week. And it sets us up good for that 2-week period before the September monthly options expiration date, where it's kind of similar to what we saw going into June, if that makes sense. I know there's a couple people with theories out there that think we're going to have another really large leg up soon because of the technical setting up very similar to how we did in May. Very possible. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Streaming Labs. Let's see. Gonna be watching you on an 8K 100-inch TV with that AMC money. There you go. Oh, Fuzzy, 4139. Don't forget my word. There we go. Oh, who is Gary Gensler's in here? What's up, man? Samsung 55-inch 4K. That's cool. Oh, sriracha's awesome. I put that on everything. I make my own sriracha ketchup and I put sriracha on my omelets. It's awesome. Hopefully you guys got the screenshot. Fuzzy, you're gonna, what was it? 4139. Okay, cool. I mean, Fuzzy with the 40,000% gain. He's got it going on. What I've learned since January is it would be super helpful to have multiple monitors to trade. Yeah, I have this one right here, and then I have this one over here with what you guys are looking at. TMI has 3, and I think Trey has 3 too, which makes me feel like I also need to have 3, but I don't know where I would put it and like what I would use it for. Because like if this was over here and I was like needed stuff over here, I'd have to drag it across the screen, which would be weird. Let's see. Yeah, Friday's expiration. I think we're good. Okay, so let's answer TMI's question on who takes longer to shower, you or Rogue. I'm guessing Rogue. Oh ho ho! We got a special guest, guys. Special guest in the building. What's up, TMI?
Hello.
How you doing, bud?
Not bad. How you doing?
Pretty solid.
I mean, we're in the middle of a nice run here. We're coming out of this W. People are feeling a little bullish.
There we are.
I like it. What's going on, people?
Not much. Oh, we're going over my favorite sauces. And Donnie, thank you so much for the super. STV's favorite sauce is mayonnaise. See what I did there? Love you, buddy. Donnie, love you too, man. Thank you.
Oh, people were loving your sauce comment today.
They were what?
They were loving your sauce comment. You're like, I love sauces. People are like, oh, does he? I was just like, oh boy. Here we
See,
go.
I'm gonna need that one explained to me because I genuinely really like putting sauces on things.
So, sauces can be a substance that you put on the food you eat. It can also be a natural substance that comes from the body.
Ah, okay. That's what I was thinking, but
Because
you never really know.
sometimes people put sauces, to help food get
Yeah.
down easy. And sometimes people use sauces to help things go in
Gotcha.
easy. It's a whole.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a whole. Sauce can also be like flagrancy. Put a little sauce on a little statement.
Yeah.
It's like putting spice on it.
Yeah.
What is up, people?
I don't know. This is like a little pre-market to when TMI comes on at 6:30, bright and early in the. That's when you come on, right? 6:30.
So 6:30 is when I put on the live stream. I usually get on around 6:45.
Gotcha.
Warming up a little. I let people chat amongst themselves first. They really come to talk to themselves. I just kind of crash the party.
That's true.
I just kind of come on. They're like, all right, here he comes. Everyone behave. Everyone relax.
Yeah, your internet crashed the party today. That was unfortunate.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
In the background, I was losing it. But on screen, I kept it cool, calm, collected. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I was hanging out in there, and then all of a sudden it went dead, and I was having fun timing shills out, and I was like, I'm gonna have to wait.
Ding, 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 ding. We have to wait to the next round.
Yep. Oh, secret sauce. Dude, Chick-fil-A sauce, fire. Chipotle ranch, fire.
Thanks,
I've
Jack
tried
Ripper.
avocado ranch once. Not it.
It just doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't hit the same. Kenny G will have to buy great value mayo after the squeeze.
Kenny G's gonna have to buy a lot of things after the squeeze.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. He might have to sell off a lot of things too if he's crazy over leveraged.
Oh yeah.
Oh, also apparently my stream looks good now. Like we're all clear.
I mean, you're coming in crystal over here.
Oh, perfect.
1080p and flying. Kenny G's gonna be short squeeze in prison. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
That's too bad. He Kenny G, like some of the photos reminds me of this kid that I go to school with. And
please tell me more.
It's just like one of these kids that's just like I don't want to say try hard. Like a Like, takes
Oh
things that
yeah.
shouldn't be taken seriously too seriously.
Mm-hmm. We know the ones.
Oh, yeah.
I
Also,
know. I know.
guys, we
I
got,
know. I
like
try hard right now.
what?
So I can name a few tryhards right now. Is Mike V in the chat? We got a tryhard right
Mike
there.
V is in here somewhere.
This guy said in the middle of the stream, he's like, he started making these flagrant comments. And he's just like, I'm not getting the attention that I deserve. Oh, hilarious. Not selling until Kenny G throws a yacht at me. Oof. Be careful what you ask for.
Almost as many likes as viewers. That's true. We were popping up a little bit earlier. That's what happens though. Power half hour. Some people just can't handle it.
TMI's OnlyFans isn't really this clear.
Somebody goes, "You and TMI have an OnlyFans? That's weird." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the point."
The name of the podcast only makes it worse.
Yeah, that would make it so much worse.
People be like, so we always had our suspicions, but now it's official.
Oh, there's Mike.
TMI needs to follow me back on Instagram. Unfollow me and then follow me back again. Because I think it only displays a certain, you know what, let me not make excuses.
On
Yeah.
what?
On Instagram, I'm pretty sure it only displays a certain amount.
Of followers?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think I just followed you back just now. Did you wait? You followed me 2 minutes ago.
Who?
Mike V.
Mike V, you didn't follow me on Instagram? That hurts. Donnie says, STV, when we moon, I'm buying Kenny G's wife since she is the next Bezos/Gates ex-wife. I'll be the next Kevin Federline.
Damn. Yo, Mike
Donnie's
V's
gonna
an
cash
artist?
out.
Oh, Donnie's gonna cash out. I got a feeling like Donnie's definitely gonna be one of those couches that we go crash at when we go around to meet all these different apes.
Oh, yeah.
Just crash on Donnie's couch. Just FYI. Heads up, Donnie. We're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Mike
going to
V's
have
an
to get
artist.
a couch for my apartment just so you can come and crash.
Oh, most definitely.
I don't have one. I'm not planning on
Wait,
getting
you don't have a couch?
No.
Wait,
I'm literally going to do bed, desk, kitchen, good. I don't need a lot of stuff.
Bed, desk, kitchen, good. Is it an apartment?
Yeah, it's just a large studio.
Oh,
So it's like
got you.
kind of an L. It's just kind of like
Oh, I see what you're. Oh, I see what the game is. Oh, okay.
yeah.
I don't have a couch, so when people come over to Netflix and chill, they gotta sit in my bed. They gotta chill with me.
Oh no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no.
no. I peeped the game. No, that's cool. That's cool.
I
That's
just
sweet. I
don't
like the way.
no, because it's like,
Listen,
oh, it's gonna be
see, times
such a
are rough right now.
disaster to move
No,
it
you're gonna
in
say
there. Like,
times
I'm
are rough
never
right
gonna
now.
use it.
I don't have a couch. I have to, sell it to help my dog. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it is what it is. But I do have my bed over there. Don't worry. You can sit in my bed or you can sit on the floor. Your choice.
Oh my god.
That's like, oh wow. Nacho, I feel like you've lived a life.
I know. Oh, Nacho. Well, if you got it, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
No judgment.
No couch means more money for tendies. I just see it's like I think of things that I'm gonna put in my apartment as in how much am I going to use it? If I'm gonna use it like under 5 times and I don't need it, then it doesn't need to be there.
I agree. I concur with this message.
There we go. Haha, STV got that penthouse? No. It's
Not
gonna be
yet.
cool. I don't know where I'm gonna set it up. You guys might be able to just see my kitchen at all times. I already
mean,
followed Mike V back. Yeah, it's hard to see when like everybody just follows and you're just clicking like follow back.
yeah, it's tough. But I think they only display so many follows at that one time. Like it'll get to the end quickly, and if I close and open back again, sometimes I'll see new follows. So I don't know if they follow like in
Yeah,
between
you
that
got to
time.
refresh it.
Yeah, or if you have to refresh it.
Oh, Brad made a good point. I'm not getting a couch, so when you come over.
OnlyFans. You guys are
Wait,
in
is
for a
STV invited
show.
to TMI's OnlyFans or is TMI invited to STV's OnlyFans? It's one and the same.
Yeah. You gotta leave something for the imagination.
Yeah. All the YouTubers need to do an episode of AMC Cribs. Mine would be like 30 seconds.
Maybe a
For my
TikTok.
apartment, it would just be like, here it is.
Just a quick 360 and scene.
And that's it. You got Twitter set up but can't follow anyone for 3 days? I don't know how that works.
Who's that? Me?
No, your avocado.
Interesting. Oh, you probably have to verify your email thing.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, Craig says, SCV, you're the first YouTuber to read my comment. Yeah, I try to read all the ones that come in.
Like in the chat?
What?
In the chat?
Yeah, in the chat, not the YouTube comments. Like, especially in June, it was just too much.
Oh, yeah. What's
Donnie
going
says,
on, Pam?
Oh, yeah, Pam's back in here? Oh, there
Lady
we go.
Pam.
Donnie says, SCV, does that mean you're making your buddy sleep in your bed if they crash at your house? No, I'm going to have an air mattress for them. Avocado said they followed too many people.
Oh, yeah.
Paul says, trust me, I went without a couch for 3 years. Hey, man, got to do what you got to do. You guys are awesome with reading comments for sure. Guys, it's also because we don't have 20,000 people sending in comments
So far.
so far. Not yet. But it's like it's much easier to see when the chat isn't flying. Like even on TMI streams, like it's difficult to see everything.
Yeah, and it started off with such like an intimate setting. It's still in the morning. It's still dope.
Yeah.
In the morning, it's still dope. Around lunchtime, it gets a little tough because it's just so many questions coming in, and or not even questions. Sometimes it's like you're reading people's conversation, and then in between the conversations, there's also questions.
Yeah.
TMI reads minds
I always
also.
try to get to the questions.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like you're reading the statements. You're reading the conversation, and you're laughing along the lines of what like people are talking about. Sometimes it's hilarious, and then I'll laugh and I'll be skipping through questions because I'm trying to see what the next reply was for the conversation. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Allegedly, hypothetically.
Or 80K like Matt in June. Oh my God, that must have been so hard to I don't even know how you could read all the supers. You'd have to just go
That's a
so
risk.
quick.
That's a risk. Yeah, I think sending supers at that point in time is like, look, it is what it is, people.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
felt
like
so bad that one day when everybody was on and I just couldn't read them. I was like, it was painful.
yeah, I tried to screenshot them because they're just going too fast. Sometimes I try to like screenshot it, put off to the side, and then some guys like, what happens on here stays on here, and I was just like, oof,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure if you click viewer activity, you can see them all. And they don't stay though. I think you actually have to go into like your analytics and you can see all of them. So you can
Oh,
go back,
really?
but it's hard. Yeah.
If you have to do all that during the stream, that's tough. You have to have it open
Yeah,
and
that is
ready.
tough. Fuzzy says, I'm married. Where would I sleep when I mess up? If I didn't have a couch, doghouse, I guess. Not building one of those. Is somebody asking me tax questions again? Guys, I'm a 22-year-old college student. I'm not a CPA. TMI, you got any tax advice?
Pay them.
Yeah.
Seriously,
That's
people.
mine too.
The only people that can take your money away from you once you have it is two people. No, three actually. Your significant other, if you get divorced.
That's what I was thinking.
Yourself, if you do something stupid with it, or the government. Let's just eliminate two of them, and we'll deal with your significant other later.
How do you
just deal with two of them?
You're gonna eliminate yourself?
Yeah, don't do anything stupid with it. Just don't do anything because your thing was what? Wait 30 days?
Yeah.
I love that one. I absolutely love that one. Wait 30. I mean, I'm probably gonna wait 2 weeks and then start, moving things around a little bit just to kind of get that little shift into crypto. But besides that, I'm not gonna do too much. Like I probably want to take like a solid Ooh, I don't know yet. I guess yeah, maybe 5 or 6 figures and just leave it in crypto long term. Just leave it there. Don't touch it.
This tax season is gonna be wild.
Yeah, but the more complicated taxes, the more you made.
It's a good problem to have. You have to
It's
pay a
a
lot in taxes. It means you made a lot of money.
That's it. That's it. If you look at my tax, if I'm paying, you know, X X X X X X X X X X X X X in taxes, you can only imagine how much I made.
Exactly.
Now, if I'm
Problem is,
paying
it's hard to
X
write
X in
off. Like, you
taxes,
can't write off anything for like stock gains.
correction, you can't write off anything for stock gains. I'm claiming my pets as dependables. Like,
That's not very much.
my pets are expensive tastes.
You're buying
That's
your what do you call it? What do you call it? You're buying your pet like filet every night. SV, I know
Oh,
you're
of
only
course.
22-year-old college student, but what's the meaning of life? Do fun things and don't mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's more like a life strategy.
What time is it? So it's still power hour?
We have 1 minute.
Left?
Go for it.
How flagrant should it be?
I don't know. Just don't get me taken off.
All right. Life advice. 2 things. Happy wife, happy life.
That's a good
Second
one.
thing, lick it before you stick it. You gotta end it off with the flagrant one. You can't give people the half-ass. You gotta go all the way.
That's the end of our half hour. Thank you guys for coming to another stream. That was a good one. We had a bunch of fun. This is TMI, the masked investor. Right now he's the faceless investor, which could be the backup channel name. But yeah, if you guys follow me on Instagram right now at shortthevix1, I will follow you right back. I feel like a lot of you guys have done that already, but if you haven't yet, shortthevix1 on Instagram. Same thing for TMI, masked_investor. Ooh, some last minute supers. Fuzzy says, don't forget those write-offs. You can write off a portion of your living space, and the internet there is so much, and it all adds up. Ooh, I could honestly start doing that.
That's an office. Yep, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah, because my whole thing is an office. Ooh, I'm going to call my accountant if he ever picks up my calls. Justin says, VIX, check the pics on Instagram. I messaged you. Oh, I think I saw that come through. I will check that. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. See you tomorrow.
Deuces.
Oh, wait, there's one more. Aria, thank you for the super. All right, now we're done.